I'm doing well. How are you? Fantastic. Absolutely. That's a solid question. Can they hear me?
All right. There. Now I should be able to be heard. Wow, I went through an
Perfect.
entire Raven can be heard. I cannot. That's fine. Uh, you
Excellent.
know, it wouldn't be a professional stream without a little bit of technical difficulties.
Now what you're saying, good enough for government work back where I work. It's usually not very good.
It's been 8 minutes of silence. Well, I'm sorry, Zen. If it makes you feel any better, I did a whole spiel all about how wonderful you were for hitting that first button and everything else. I'm just not going to do it again.
Yep.
And I had a good. Well, I have to at least do the introduction again. So you're gonna have to you're gonna have to listen to your own introduction again because I got to at least do the introduction. Otherwise, it won't line up for the video. Um,
That's cool.
and will make absolutely no sense in the podcast later on. So looks like the hype train is not gonna. Well, that's okay. There didn't need to be a hype train. All right. Let's see. Okay. Introductions. Here we go. Tonight's special guest plays a mix of games and is a mixologist just the same. From clever quips to group party snips, they get into all kinds of fun under the sea and under the sun. You can find they've got content on both Twitch and YouTube and TikTok that's sure to keep you entertained with clever drink, daring gameplay, or reactions to questionable anime drinks. This talented streamer is here to tell all, so pull up a chair and imbibe in the fantastic abilities of tonight's special guest. And for tonight only, I present to you live from the other side of the bar. It's the Tropical Raven. There. Now we have the intro.
That's it. That's it. I love that. That was a great intro.
There you go. All right. Now, let's kick over to the actual screen so all the adoring people can actually see your face. And ding, here we go. We have a live Tropical Raven from the other side of the bar.
Hello.
What's actually kind of comical is I wrote the line about, from the other side of the bar. And then you showed up and like, yeah, I'm going to do this from my cozy spot, which is the other side of the bar. I'm like, I wonder if he
Perfect.
knew I was going to do that.
Nope. We just know that that is my cozy side. Other side of the bar.
Well, I imagine that most mixologists like to sit on the other side of the bar. It's probably
Yeah.
a safe space at some point.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
don't mind either side.
here you go. Well, let's go ahead and run through the rules of the road. I'm certain if you've been here before, you already know them, but we have to make certain we cover from anybody new coming in. So chat has got abilities to ask questions. We are going to talk for the next 3 hours, my friend. So I hope you're ready for that.
Oh yeah.
If you need a break, yell mercy, and we'll let you sneak off for a few seconds. But as the chat comes through, they'll ask questions. I will read the questions off so that because I get to act as the first line of defense to make certain that we're not going to get anything questionable in here. No, Zoda, we're not doing the last 5 digits of their social security. Keep telling you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just a thing.
You know what we can ask for.
But beyond that, you are welcome. If at any time we ask you a question that you don't feel comfortable answering for whatever reason, and we don't need to know the reason, you are welcome to say no. We will skip the question. It'll be like it never was asked. We're just going to move right on, and we will hit another question, another topic. We will pivot to something else, and we will do so quick. Like it'll break necks if people aren't careful. Like we're quick like that. So it is a safe space here. So, feel free to share anything and everything that you want, or don't want. It is entirely all up to you. So now that everybody understands the rules of the road, let's get this started, right? So we have a bit of tradition here on Talk Tuesday, right? The first two questions are pretty well scripted. Everybody knows what they are, so it gives everybody plenty of time to come up with their fabrications. I'm sorry, their backstories, their origin stories, their
fabrications. Yes.
It gives you a chance to make something up, because a lot of times everybody's like, I don't really remember how that came about. Quick, make something up. It helps. It helps. It is what it is. But it's usually a good point for a conversation starter. So we'll start with question number 2, which is going to be, what got you started as an online content creator? I would say normally streaming at this point. What was the thing that made you hit the go live and start streaming? But you do both streaming, TikTok, and YouTube. And so I'm just going to call you an online content creator. And so what was the thing that kicked all of that off?
Sure. Actually, for a while, I really liked making my own cocktails. Grew up in a very Greek family, and we kind of encouraged like responsible drinking from a pretty young age, and that kind of brought me down to how can I make it taste better, blah blah blah. So I was making my own cocktails. From there, I had a ex-girlfriend who had told me, you know what, why don't you just like record it and put it on Instagram, TikTok, even start streaming something on Twitch, get your name out there, right?
Right.
And I had a lot of fun with both of those things. I think I'm finding in particular my favorite part of content creation has been behind the bar, so I'm leaning a little bit more into that. Definitely hoping to stay back on to some of the Twitch video gaming, but for a little bit we might have a little bit more of Twitch streams looking like my side of the screen right now.
Well, I was going to say, had you considered doing, bartender happy hour, right? Sit over there, discuss drinks, just turn on the live stream and just like, because there are some IRL like streams where they do like from kitchen cooking and whatnot. And so you could get in there and do a whole, here's how you mix drinks, or do the old classical, or like somehow I've got you with this little vest and a towel and just like wiping a glass down, be like, let me help you with your problems,
Exactly. Yeah. I have done a couple of times with one of my friends, like just kind of a live bar stream, but I'm not sure. We've liked how it's turned out to some degree, but on the other side, I don't think it was what I had in mind, which was exactly what you were saying, I guess, like me kind of being educational more so than leaning towards heavy entertainment. Like it's supposed to be entertaining, but trying to be educational at the same time. The couple of streams that I have done, I think were not as educational as I wanted them to be. And I think that I'm going to be kind of reeling it in and trying to do that. It might even come with like kind of a mental health message at some point where we just kind of all sit around and talk about life and whatever, because sometimes the bartender is your favorite therapist too.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the more I was thinking, like the novel approach that you could take. Is just sit around and advice from the bar. You could almost do something like that. which I think would be an interesting thing. I don't think I've seen any kind of content of that nature on Twitch as of yet. So
Well, we'll
it might
find my
be
niche.
it might be a niche to get started with. I don't. You never know.
Absolutely.
You never know. So Tropical Raven, where does that name come from?
So that one originally came from a split of two things. So I knew that I wanted to be the Raven in some degree on here. For the longest time, I've been a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe, even since like elementary school level, which jazz like kind of blew teachers' minds that I was sitting there interested in reading like the Telltale Heart when we're in like second grade, you know,
Oh,
third
Poe
grade,
was a
whatever.
fantastic author. I had a bunch of his paperback books growing up as a kid, and I literally read the cover off in them. So no,
Absolutely,
I totally get that.
it's great. And so like kind of an affinity grew towards the Raven in particular. I memorized the entire poem at one point. I could not tell you it now, only a few loose stanzas, but it kind of morphed into a little bit of a for fun identity between me and like friends and such. So then I was like, for a drink moniker, what do I want? Definitely the Raven. But then when I was starting off this channel, my biggest things were making tropical drinks. We got like pina coladas, blue Hawaiian, stuff like that. Very
Right.
rum, fruity, stuff like that. So we just kind of moved it into the tropical Raven. We're pulling a twist of instead of like the dark, grim type of Raven thing, we're gonna make it a fun, cool Raven. Um, so that's where that came from for me.
No, hey, it works, right? As long as you can get
Absolutely.
behind it. So that's kind of the thing, right? So whether you're Twitch or TikTok or whatever else, finding your theme that works for you, your way of establishing your identity, I think is like really important, especially in a space where there's literally millions of other people doing stuff. Right? You
Right.
got to find that thing that is uniquely your own. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
You know, that's kind of what Talk Tuesday is about, is just trying to figure out what sets you up as uniquely you, and then how can we go about and tell everybody about the fantastic uniquely you.
Right. Yeah. I think that's definitely a big part of it for me is I like to do what I do. I put a lot of passion into the things that I'm the most interested in, and this has been it for a long, long time. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Well,
So
there
I'm
you go.
spreading the love and spreading the information, spreading the passion.
Excellent. Excellent. That is fantastic, right? Well, I mean, I think that's the overarching goal for anybody, though, is to do what you love to do, right? Like if we can all
Absolutely.
get paid to do what we enjoy doing day in and day out, you're not really working; you're just playing all day.
That's it, exactly. And that's the dream.
That is the goal. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I realized that particular goal of mine. Oh God, it's been almost a decade ago now. Actually, I started working as a software developer. Um, so there you go. Uh, so is this? No, I see in like some of your bios and whatnot, you are listed as a bartender. So do you do that full time?
So uh, I have been a full-time bartender multiple times throughout my career, part-time bartender multiple times throughout the career. Um, Recently, I started taking a little bit of a break. I'm currently working for where I live in New Hampshire. This liquor commission is run by the state. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a manager of one of the state liquor stores at the moment. Still heavily involved in what I love, which is my liquor and passing on information to
Right.
customers, but a little bit more of a stable environment at the moment. But I'm keeping the bartending dream alive with the Tropical Raven here.
There you go. That is fantastic. It's always interesting. You get to meet all kinds of interesting people in different walks of life and what they do. Like you go from bartender to now working at the state level, helping to further your passions. And I don't know necessarily you're not making laws about that, which is fine. But you are still able to help people.
Yeah, that's really what it's about. And I mean, who knows? Through the state, there's a lot of opportunities. I very well may be making laws about it at some point in my life. That'd be cool. Making liquor laws.
If that's the dream, I would say live the dream.
It would be cool for sure.
I can think of a lot of things that would be cool to do. I'm not even certain where I would start in a thing like that, right? Like, where do you even begin? Like, how did you get started in it? I mean, did you just decide to go in like, hey, I'm 21 now, I'm just going to go in and start serving drinks? Or did you go to school for that? Like,
yeah. So actually, I started when I turned 21. I was working in a rest stop in New Hampshire, and this rest stop happens to be connected to a liquor store. It happens to be the liquor store that I am now the manager of. However, at that time, I was not making a ton of money, but at the same time, I was going, well, I'm 21 now. I'm gonna buy some whiskey. How do I make this whiskey taste better? I'm gonna learn how to make a whiskey sour. Well, now I have something else extra. I'm gonna buy ingredients for this drink. I'm gonna buy ingredients for another drink. Now I have 10 bottles sitting behind my bar, and I don't know what to do with the extras. So what can I do with this extra bottle? Oh, I can make another drink with 4 or 5 different ingredients, so then that becomes 15 bottles, and before I know it, I have like a fully stocked bar in my own house. And as I was making those drinks, I became more and more interested in how do I make this my own? How do I invent a cocktail? And I've made quite a few to this date that I've really loved.
That is fantastic. So you've got your own line of cocktail drinks that you've made.
Yes. Most recently, I put out my favorite one that I've been doing for a couple years now, but always been kind of riffing on it, making it better every year. Currently, it was called Persephone, very inspired from Greek mythology, the Greek family that I grew up in, all of that. So It is a mix of my favorite gin, a pomegranate liqueur that I found, a blood orange juice that I added citric acid to, essentially to make it about as sour as lemon juice, to replace the sour portion. And I shake that up, coat the inside of my glass with ouzo, and pour this drink into the glass and top it with a homemade vanilla salt foam. It's complicated, and I love it.
It sounds complicated. I'm like, did we just go into science class here?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of it that has to do with science. I use different baking ingredients to make the foam from scratch. Added citric acid to a blood orange juice at a 6% by weight volume to get that sour level. There's a lot of kind of gastronomy and science that you can put into this, and I've been having the most fun when I get to do complicated things like that.
It's absolutely fantastic. Dope would like to know, what is your signature drink?
What is my signature drink? Ooh. Now, you say I think I just said it. However, just because that's been the longest custom that I've been making. However,
hang on. Hold on.
Yes.
Hold your thoughts. We're getting raided right now, so I don't want to lose that in all the noise that is going on from the raid.
Here comes the raid.
Welcome in, raiders.
Have you heard about Long Range Brand Muffin Oil? This miracle oil is a trick to removing stubborn turnip stains. It will help to clear your drains. It is still safe enough to cook with every day. Long Range Brand Muffin Oil will give your buns a shine that defies time. It will add a bounce to your loaf and add fluff to your pastries. Remember it by name. If it isn't Long Range Brand Muffin Oil, then you are just chewing on soil.
Welcome in, Raiders.
No frost-
Squirrel, thank you for bringing all your people in today. We are, well, yeah, go get you some food, Squirrel. We are doing a Talk Tuesday. Tonight's special guest is the Tropical Raven, and they're regaling us on their epic signature drink as a mixologist. So you guys just came in just in time to get your pen and piece of paper ready for this bit of a recipe that may just kind of get slung out there.
So, oh, sorry. Should I go
No,
ahead?
you're fine. Yeah, go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah. So yes, I think that is particularly what I would call my signature drink, the Persephone cocktail that I made for Mythology. So, if I may describe how to go about it, once the cocktail is made, if you kind of smell the top of the drink, a lot of people do. You get that kind of vanilla and anise from ouzo, kind of gives you this idea that it's going to be like heavy and very kind of floral almost.
Right.
But once you get in there and take a sip, you get past the foam, and the cocktail is very punches you in the face with sour pomegranate blood orange and a little bit of citrusy kind of flavors. Very light. It gives you a complete 180 on what you kind of perceive it as, and that's been one of my favorite things to do with a cocktail, is kind of either to complement or contrast in different ways. That kind of contrast
Right.
of getting that vanilla anise and then getting hit with the complete opposite, something just tart and fresh, is one of my favorite things. However, what I've been making most often for myself all the time since watching my new favorite anime, Bartender Glass of God, is actually what I'm preparing myself right now. Just a simple Japanese whiskey highball. I just put in about 1.5 ounces of Japanese whiskey, top it with a club soda, just a sparkling water essentially, and just give it a little lemon peel on top. You can kind of just spritz the oils out on top of the drink, give that lemon scent. Super easy, super simple. If I'm feeling lazy, this is what I make, and been working full time for the last few months in a liquor store where I work 7 days a week sometimes, so I'm lazy a lot. So
I think we're all a lazy a lot, and it's okay. It's you're allowed to be lazy, right? So sometimes you just need that ease to slow things down. So any particular, like, so beyond just mixing drinks and content creation, do you have any hobbies that you enjoy doing?
Yeah, so I play Magic the Gathering a lot with my friends. We like to play, particularly, a lot of them like to play Commander. I like to get myself a little bit more into some of the kind of one-on-one styles of Magic the Gathering.
Right.
A lot of card games that I used to really like playing. I play some old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they recently started allowing you to cut off the newer cards and just play in an old school format. A lot of
Oh,
fun
that's
with that.
nice.
And then video games as well with some of my friends. I like to play a bunch of group horror games. Labyrinthine was a big one that I've played a lot on my streams. Phasmophobia, those types
Well, that
of
one
games.
you'll get in along really well with the ladies over at the Regime. That's like one of their favorite games to play is Labyrinth.
Yes. I actually remember semi-recently I had streamed Labyrinthine, and we had a dev pop into my stream, and so Salty was pronouncing it, I think, Labyrinthine, and I was saying Labyrinthine, and at some point I was just like, you know what, there's a dev in the chat. Hey, how do you pronounce it? Score one for me.
It's fantastic. Like, yes, we have the official expert of this. They'll solve this. Hold on one second.
Right. So that was just a fun stream day. Just a little playful.
I can imagine that. That sounds like that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Would love to get more of it. I think Dope was there. I think he was there for that.
That is fantastic.
Mhm.
Now, is that your first experience with a game developer jumping into your chat, or have you had that happen before?
So I have had game developer for, let's see, we've had Labyrinthine. That was, I think that was only the first time, that one. I think either Dote or one of my mods, Fire Monkey, might be able to tell a little better. We might have had one from either Phasmophobia or, oh, what was the Egyptian one? We played a little bit of that one too.
Egyptian one?
Yeah, very like tomb raiding, find the
Oh, I think I
sacred-
know what the game. Yeah, I there was a couple of friends I think I watched play that one time.
for something.
Yeah, the name is escaping me at this point.
Forewarned, I think.
That sounds actually pretty spot on. We'll go with that.
Forewarned. I like that idea.
We'll go with forewarned. Yeah, if it's wrong, somebody will suss us out in the comments later. It'll be fine.
Oh yeah. This is the internet. We'll get an answer.
There'll be somebody who comes along afterwards, be like, actually.
Fun to be that guy sometimes, but don't let it get to your head. You can be not pleasant sometimes doing that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know. I think it's good to clear up misconceptions. I think it's bad to propagate erroneous information.
That's fair. Yeah. I think there's a bit of perceived arrogance that comes off whenever you do that sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So, you definitely don't want anybody to, think poorly of you because you think that you're clearing something up, but you're really just being that guy.
Well,
I can get where it comes from.
But at the same token, I think you can be that guy, right? And I know people that are like that.
Yeah.
But the thing here is, and I think the big push behind that is that as long as you're willing to recognize the fact that you're in error, and are willing to be amenable to being corrected when you're trying to do the correction, be like, actually, that's incorrect. And if somebody comes back like, no, actually, you're the one who's incorrect. Here's the sources. Here's the information. You would be wrong. And as long as you're like, okay, you know what? Fair. My bad.
Right.
This was my experience. I think that's fair. If you're willing to be corrected and when handed empirical evidence that suggests that you would actually be the one that's wrong, you're willing to back up and admit to so. I don't think you're in any danger of being that guy.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. I agree.
I think I knew guys back in my high school days that were like, no, this is the way it is, and it's the way it is because I said so. And you're like, that's not actually, that doesn't work. Like at all.
It's the curse of being told something you can't do something because I said so from a parent. I think some people's reaction to that has been, well, let me present empirical evidence to you. And you know, I don't know, maybe they get that same feeling when
I,
they hear
I,
something
I,
that they want to interject on.
Hi, Wars. Hi, Bees. Welcome in. There is that possibility. I don't know. I think it's all just and I think it's all very situational, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's really hard to go empirically. You're going to be this guy because you did X, Y, or Z.
Oh, for sure.
Without being in that situation.
Yeah, everyone's different, so situations are different, thought processes are different. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I find that always. Now, you did bartending. So you stood on the other side of the bar and you did the very fascinating thing of, and for me this is extremely fascinating. And I only bring this up because I used to spend long hours in my teenage years sitting in the mall watching people walk by, watching people interact. You get to watch people interact in a bar setting. It's an entirely different animal. You get to see the really clever chaps, and then you get to see the really stupid people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, alcohol brings out the best and the worst in us. To be fair.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody's innocent from that. Lord knows I've had a few drinks and have done some really boneheaded things. So I don't think anybody's saying from that. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put the question without being like, tell us some good stories of people being really stupid in a bar. We don't really want to do that, but those are always some of the best stories too.
Yeah, we really have. I want to hear if chat wants to hear that. At least one or two. I can tell one or two stories of people being completely stupid.
I generally tell stories of people being completely stupid. I think you're safe to tell at least one or two stories of people being completely stupid. It's refreshing to know that there's always you're like, I feel like I'm being dumb. And then somebody comes along like, okay, so here's what dumb actually looks like. And you're like, okay, not so dumb anymore. So I think you're safe to go with like one or two stories. Cool. Just because I'm interested and I'm curious.
Yeah. I can definitely give a particular incident that was really interesting, and I'm not sure how much of it is, I think I guess this is where we're going with the question anyway, is how stupid do people get when they're drinking sometimes?
Yep.
At one particular place that I worked at, it was a speakeasy. We had a hidden door. You would have to answer a riddle on the phone to get the door to open into our bar, which served sometimes as a better bouncer than a human bouncer, right? So one time,
I've already got like 100 other questions about the speakeasy now.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get a bunch of them. Yeah, but at one point, I think it was around 11:30 p.m. We closed at 1 a.m. at this place at the time. We had a person come to the door, and I happened to be walking by the door, so the phone rings, I pick up the phone, and I give the person the riddle. I don't remember what it was at the time, honestly, but it was super simple riddles that were accompanied by a picture that was on the door, which usually contained the answer. Like, if it was a riddle about, like, when the rain falls, it's cloudy, but then I show up when the rain ends, and it's just a picture of a rainbow.
Right.
Somebody just goes, rainbow, and I'm like, cool, great, excellent, let me let you in. Like, stupid, like, simple riddles.
Yeah. Come on in and continue to get hammered.
I asked this guy the riddle, and I hear on the other end, let me in. So, I'm just like, all right, so I have a feeling that if you're not comprehending the words I'm saying to you, then you might be drunk right now. I have a little peephole. I can also kind of see him. He's kind of like leaning a little bit, like swaying a little. And this guy had such a problem with me asking him if he was under the effects of alcohol. I don't remember exactly how I asked it, but I asked him if he was drunk. And so he kind of got pissed and then pissed. He started peeing in the fake sink in the fake room before the entrance to the bar. And my manager at the time was like, "Oh my god, there's not even actual pipes there. It's a fake sink." So door opens, manager comes out and takes this dude whose pants are between his legs and threw him out in the winter in New Hampshire. Threw him outside and he landed like face first, ass out in the snow.
It's just
That was one of the craziest nights that I've had there. Just silly things happening. Or like, oh yeah, he'll forget about it tomorrow.
wow. That'll stick with you.
Oh yeah,
It'll
I'll always
absolutely
remember that
stick
night.
with
That was
you.
funny. That was silly.
You're gonna have to be a little bit more specific than that, Miss Crimson Cat.
Crimson Cat. I know that name.
Yeah. Miss Crimson Cat would like to know, when are we getting that drink?
Which drink?
I'm assuming.
Powder?
See, that's exactly why I'm like, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific than that, Crimson Cat. You know, you can't just come in here and be like, I demand a drink. You're gonna have to be more
It's
specific
okay, I
than
get
that.
that question a lot. When am I going to see the drink? And I'm like, well, I got a lot of those. You'll have to be specific. If you're talking about the Persephone, currently it is posted as a picture on my Instagram, and the full TikTok video is coming very soon. Then YouTube will see it after TikTok. I actually don't currently have a specific pattern for how late TikToks move to YouTube Shorts. I kind of just throw them on whenever I feel like it.
Willy nilly.
Be sure to put the pomegranate up very soon after the TikTok.
Hello. It do be like that. Well, this should be fair. Like, even I am horrible about putting YouTube shorts up, even though Twitch has given us the ability to just kick our clips over there to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, great. I can just kick it over there. I don't have to. It's a push button. I don't have to do anything. And then it comes around time to do. I'm like,
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll think about it. It might happen
Maybe.
next year
Maybe.
sometime.
Yeah. If enough people.
If somebody yells at me loud enough, I might think about it.
Yeah. If there's a loud enough voice, I might listen to it.
So, first off, I have actually been there, in not necessarily the guy peeing in the sink, but that level of stupidity I have seen. It's just always fascinating. Because inevitably, there's always somebody that's out there that's like, there's no way somebody's that stupid. And you're like, if they weren't that stupid, I wouldn't have this story to tell. Were you kidding me?
Yeah.
Figure that one out for a second.
Seeing that has made me kind of reel back when I'm at parties. I've been at family parties. That's usually when I let loose the most and drink the most, because I'm surrounded by my family, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Even with that, I've started to reel back and just be like, maybe I'm feeling a little too good. Maybe I should stop with the family around. Just because I've seen how stupid people can be.
I mean, let me pump the brakes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've pumped the brakes on myself a couple of times there.
That's fantastic. It's actually a really nice way of putting that too. I like that. Let's pump the brakes on that.
Yeah, I like pump the brakes. It's a good term. I watched Letterkenny, and that was a common term in that.
You watched what?
The show Letterkenny. Have you seen that?
No, I have not seen that show.
It's a silly show about Canadian hicks.
I see. So I grew up with that saying. Like that was part of our normal vocabulary.
Yeah.
When somebody starts talking about, whoa, let's pump the brakes on that. I'm like, okay. We're doing something wrong.
Let's take it down there, but
Let's back this up a little bit. Back up the truck. Oh. Now you're up because you've already said it on a number of occasions now. So you were up. I actually used to live up in your neck of the woods.
Oh yeah.
Some 20 years ago now. Yeah.
Kind of up in the New England area.
Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire.
Yeah. Do you hear? They're doing something with rent in Connecticut starting in July. I think I saw that they can't charge more than double the rent for a security deposit anymore, among quite a few other changes to rent.
I had not seen that.
Yeah.
That's
kind of interesting.
Actually
interesting to see how that works out.
That'll prove to be interesting, if nothing else. I'm not certain what they're going to do about that.
Interested to see where that comes from or what it does. Something a bunch of friends were talking about and they're telling me about it. I don't know.
Oh.
But did you like it up here? I particularly love that you can experience all the seasons in New England to their extremities.
You're not mistaken about that. You can absolutely experience all the seasons. I hated winters.
Yeah.
Well, so most everybody knows I'm Puerto Rican, right? So I like it warm, and by warm I mean for most everybody else it's scald your face off too hot. 100, 110 is comfortable for me. Most everybody else is like, no, that's too hot. Nor go be a lizard somewhere else.
Set you up with a sun lamp just on your bed or something.
Right? You laugh. We're here in where I currently live at down here in the South. We are just getting into our summer months, our warm months. And Shale likes to keep the house cold. So it's like 70 degrees in the house. I walk around in a jacket all day. Then I take the same jacket and I walk right outside into 110 degree heat and meander around outside with the jacket on outside, and my neighbors look at me funny.
Yeah, whatever. They can deal with it. I'm going to be real. I bring a sweater every day to work with me, even though it's summer up here. I like it. I like to bundle up.
Yeah, Zen, that's like 40s, 40 C, 42, 44 C, something like that. Yes. I'm doing my math right.
We're Americaning.
Yeah, we're using
America Day.
Who's that? Buddy of mine calls them freedom units.
Freedom units.
I'm like, that just sounds. I have avoided using the term just because it sounds bad.
It sure does. I love that.
It's like we're gonna call them freedom units. There you go. It's like I call it freedom units too. See, it sounds atrocious. I don't know why that sounds so offensive to me. I couldn't. If you asked me to place it, I'm like, no, that just sounds like that should be like censored.
Is it because you think it assumes that other places don't have freedom?
No. No, it just sounds like something that is okay. So for me growing up, I came up in the era of political correctness. Sure. We were there when political correctness got started. And I have watched the change in political correctness and what it's changed into for acceptance and everything else. And
Sure.
everything that I learned growing up, and what I experienced growing up, just every time somebody says freedom units, and that just screams at me like, no, you really shouldn't be saying that. No.
I get exactly where you're coming from, though.
Like, no. Let's not call it that. Let's not say that. Can we find a different term for that? How about we just call it what it is? Fahrenheit. There we go. Yes, Fahrenheit. Perfect.
You ever seen something like they were talking about how long, I think it was humpback whales are or something, and they were just like, oh yeah, you could fit like 3 of them in a football field or something. It's like a football field is 3 whales long. Somebody else commented just like, Americans will use fucking anything except for the actual proper measurement.
You know why, right? Because our measuring system is so hard to remember the conversion rates between any of it. It's easier just to, it's a whale. It's freaking huge. Done.
Yeah. 3 whales long.
Meanwhile, Wars is down there in Australia going, if you would just learn the imperial system like the rest of us, you'd be having this easy. No, they don't teach us that stuff. We didn't learn that in school growing up. They didn't teach it to us.
Yeah.
Matrix. I will get it downloaded.
I'll be real. I mean, like, I don't think I could really tell you off the top of my dome how long a mile is. So I think it would be the exact same thing for kilometers for me. If somebody was just
mile is 5,286 feet. And don't ask me why I know that number.
Sure. Don't taint me with your knowledge. We'll stay a peaceful, dim-witted American.
Metric. Yes, metric. That's right. We got the imperial. You guys got the metrics. I do that too. Like we're not even smart enough to know which one is which.
We don't even know which one we have. Yeah. Do you ever get recipes when you're mixing drinks that are in metrics where they're like, oh yes, you want, I don't know, 3 centimeters of, or 9 mils, there you go, 9 mils of this, or 48 mils of that, or 2 liters of this, and you're like, what? I've learned it because a lot of my education actually came from watching bartender content. I did actually go to bartender school, but I usually don't advertise that fact a ton because I think I knew more than the teacher just from watching YouTube videos. And I don't mean to say that in any kind of weird way. The bartending school I went to, I don't think was very good, more so than my education from YouTube videos was great.
Well, but I mean that's the thing that can happen. I went and got my a bachelor's degree in software programming, and I was teaching half my classes. Yeah. Right. So I mean, people wonder why American education system sucks. Well, the students know more than the teachers. That's a problem.
Yeah. It sure can be. Yeah, that's an issue. That's not good.
No bueno. But yeah, no. So first off, I would take that more as a point of pride that you knew more than the teachers, because it means that you took the time to learn, and you've got a passion. And I think people with passions tend to, as a general standard, know more than people who just learned it by the book. Right.
Yeah. I would agree, I think. But it's certain things that I heard in that classroom, it was only like a 3-week course that I went to after work. When I worked at a bank, I would get out at 5, So I'd do a 9 to 5 day, then I would go to bar school until 10, 11 p.m. and then
Right.
repeat for 3 weeks, it was a tough 3 weeks. However, on one of my worksheets, this is something that very many of all of you should be able to probably correct, I would assume. But the teacher had said Jameson is a bourbon. And
Jameson's a whiskey, isn't it?
What's that?
I'm like, I said, isn't Jameson a whiskey? I feel like
Yep,
it's a whiskey.
Yeah, a bourbon is like an American whiskey with 51% corn in it.
Right.
But yeah, so like not all whiskey is bourbon, but bourbon is a whiskey.
Right.
Jameson is an Irish whiskey, so it's not American at all.
No.
Let alone being a bourbon, you know. And somebody teaching a bar school, I would assume, should know that.
Well, you would hope they would know that.
I would
Wow.
hope, yeah. Well, a lot of people I know love Jameson, and they were just like, yeah, Irish whiskey, that's the most I know about it. And sure, that might be the most I know about it too, but I know that.
And that's about the most I know about it, but I know that.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt.
You know, it makes a fantastic slogan. Jen's currently instructing us that a kilometer is 0.62 miles, but it's also 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, which is 100,000 centimeters. And at this point, I'm like, eyes have glazed over now. Thank you.
Yep, I'm lost. See, one of my favorite things to do, I actually think this would be how I would like to do my streams. I would like to set up my computer kind of behind where my camera is currently. You can't see that part of my studio, but set up my computer over there and be able to see the chat while having the camera at the same angle right now. I would probably have my streams just being chatting while I sit here, and this is the third drink that I've made now on the stream, but I'm chilling.
Don't get yourself totally sloshed right there.
I won't be too good. No.
Be the most relaxed guest we've had on Talk Tuesday.
Max called out of work on Wednesday. Yeah, that is definitely something. I still have work in the morning, so I have been careful to count these drinks.
Okay.
This is my cutoff is 3. Before I start to
it's just
before fine. I start to dive into it and start making a fun for myself. That's when I start losing the judgment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not when I become slow, but it's when I start losing judgment to make more or not make more.
There you go. Well, as long as you know where the cutoff point is, right? That's that's the hardest part. I think most people struggle to figure out, is where when should I stop?
Yes.
I think a lot of times
that's a big problem point. I saw a lot of it as a bartender. A lot of people who struggled with that issue. However, that was my job to tell them when their cutoff point was.
Oh, I always just assume if you're at a point where you're asking, should I have another drink? You probably should just stop.
Yeah, the answer is no if you're asking. Yes.
I always figure that's the safe assumption at that point.
Ooh. Interesting. I was just tasting a different bourbon this time. I'm like, I taste some cinnamon in that. That's nice. But I had a very interesting experience at the same bar where somehow the host let a person in. And this guy, I assume, is about as tall as Dote, just by me eyeballing him. And Dote said he's a little over 6 feet.
Yep.
I'm a short guy. I'm 5'5". So this guy was able to make it past the bar. He's wearing a it looked like a stereotypical worker outfit. Like he had what looked like a one-piece kind of jumpsuit, almost kind of with some big boots on.
Okay.
He walked over to a table that I was serving of like 6 girls who are maybe like 22 to 25 in age, and they're all drinking espresso martinis and being loud and talking and stuff. And this guy, let me see, can I? This is the table with all the girls. He just comes over and he's like, "Hey, how are you guys doing today?" Yeah, and like
Not,
started leaning.
not those drunks.
Those
I've
drunks.
actually.
He did not know these women. I walked over to the women who were all giving me a face like, and I was just like, hey, buddy, it's time to go. I need you to leave.
The creep
Like
factor has just exploded.
the bar. Like, yeah, exactly. I'm not
Oof.
gonna have you in the building, right? And so, the guy was refusing, and I'm just like, all right, well, I'm only 5'5", so I'm not gonna fight you here. I'm going to grab the other 5 or 6 bartenders that I have here, and we're all gonna tell you to get out together.
Sounds like a
Um,
safe plan to me.
that was a great
Safety
plan.
in
Yeah,
numbers.
he didn't fight anybody. He was just pissed and yelling at us. And I was like, okay, you can be pissed as you want, just like don't be weird and drunk. Like we could tell you're drunk too.
The classic table lean. I have borne witness to that particular.
Technique.
Yeah. I was like maneuver was the word I was looking for, but technique
Maneuver,
works too.
that's a good word. That's a good word.
Because I don't know that you necessarily have a lot of technique when you're just kind of propping yourself up against the table.
Right. Keeping you standing, I think. And it was tough. I mean, like I got a round of applause and a really good tip from that group of women after
There
that,
you go.
which was just great, just awesome.
Right?
That's what we live for. We want people to be happy.
Well, I mean,
That
that's
is,
the ultimate goal at some point is to be able to either a help people to be happy, to get happy, or to make a person happy.
yes, that is a big thing that I am missing about actively tending bar is while I can still practice the drinks, I can't practice making that other person happy with the particular drink that I'm making until most of my social hangouts with my friends are exactly what like me working at a bar are like sometimes. I have a friend come over, they sit on my couch, and I say like, "Can I get you something to eat? Can I get you something to drink? What would you like me to get you to drink?" And I have a whole bar set up here in my studio. So I will make my friends like a full-on like cocktail you would probably get for $15-$20 at a bar sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and we hang out. That's how a lot of my friendship hangouts go, which is how I'm able
Dude,
to get a little bit of training on serving customers still.
there you go. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's good to make those connections and to continue to uh, grow those relationships. And people skills
Yeah.
is a difficult. It is a difficult skill set to master. I think we all
Yes.
acquire people skills at the start, but mastering that is an entirely different animal.
You know, I think the dynamic that I've served has changed how I do customer service. Like how
Mm-hmm.
well I perform customer service has changed based on my responsibilities and my power, frankly, in any given company. I found currently where I'm in management is where my customer service skills are shining the most because I am able to make decisions and confidently stand by them. Whereas when I
Right.
am the um, what's the term? Is it's there's a superior, but I wouldn't want to say inferior. Like when I'm under direct management, I suppose just looming over me. Anytime I make a decision, I'm not as confident about it, and I'll be like, I don't think I can help you here, or I don't think, we have that, or that's typically my answers. But now as a manager, it will be like, I can't help you, or yes, I can help you, or I don't have that. My
Well,
dynamic
so
has changed.
there's a difference when you work customer support. And I can speak a little bit from this because I spent, I don't know, 5-10 years as a customer support tech doing. It's not PC repair, but we'll call it PC repair we'll make this easy, right? So there is a point where there are some things that as management you can do to make a situation right. And
Right.
then there are some things as management you can't, because that requires somebody further up the chain. Eventually
Right.
somebody has to take responsibility and ownership is what we used to call that, of a particular event that is currently going on. Ownership of the customer, ownership of the client, ownership of the problem, and resolve that. It's easier the further up the chain you are to assume ownership and be able to resolve that, because you have more tools in your tool belt with which to resolve those particular problems, right?
Right.
As the guy at the very bottom of the ladder, you can't give a refund that's not in your tool belt. All you can do is try and fix the problem to the best of your ability. And if you can't do it, then the next tool that you have in your tool belt is to send them up the chain, and maybe the next guy has the right tool to take care of this problem. And so that's kind of how that works, right? It's always a matter of passing the buck, though there are, and you strike me as one of these individuals that you don't like passing the buck, you like fixing the problem.
Yeah.
We called those superhero types when I worked support, because they were always the guy that wanted to be the one to solve and fix all the problems and make it all right for everybody, because that's in your personality. It's there's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of who you are as an individual. Right. And usually those ones were the ones that would very quickly advance up the chain, because they would do really well where they're at, but would need that tool, and would be the ones that were constantly going to management, to their boss, to whoever it was, be like, hey, look, I need to do X, Y, or Z, and this is the reason why. You have everything lined up. You're basically doing all the work. And so you get pushed along because, hey, you already know how to use and exercise that tool. Here you go. It's now permanently yours. Go do the thing. Leave us alone. Stop pestering us.
Yes,
exactly. One thing, management's lazy.
Yeah, they sure can be. And I've been noticing sometimes that I can be, but I've found particularly when something needs to be done, I am first one to jump up and volunteer at it. But yeah, I have also noticed. Yeah, I've definitely noticed times where I'm just like, I work a lot here. I'm just gonna relax right now.
That doesn't sound like my problem or anything I can do to fix. So that's somebody else's problem.
One thing I will say I've noticed, which I found equal in power or responsibility or whatever term we may use, between being a bartender and being a manager, is I personally am not a fan of people treating any human who's just working as less than a human. And in both of those positions, I was able to properly address that.
There you go.
Currently, the only difference in our uniform between me and another cashier is a word on my name tag. So we look very much the same. And I personally will hear the same things that the cashiers will hear. people barking commands and stuff like that. I try to make it a point very much to like switch that dynamic of like, hey, I'm not your slave or dog or whatever. Like, I'm going to let it be known that I am a human being and you will treat me as such.
Right.
Or my cashier or my other coworker, I'm going to make sure you treat them as a human. That's a big thing that I think I'm really liking about a lot of people my age and some of them that are a bit younger are that they are kind of rising to that level of you will treat me with the proper respect.
Right.
I like that.
Well, and that is fair, and I think it is fair to ask for respect and expect that respect will be given. I also think it's also a good thing to make certain that you are also on your own merits showing respect to those that you're requesting. Like, respect's a two-way street. Gremlins! Hi, Gremlins.
I agree. I very much agree, and I never, whenever doing this, I try to make kids not be disrespectful in saying those things or come around that way.
No, it's just fine. It's one of those. It's always a fine line, right? It's always really interesting the line that you have to walk. And I think that's unfortunately that's just the nature of trying to be respectful of everybody. Like there is a very fine line. It's a razor's edge. You don't always get it perfectly. And I think having the willingness to learn, having the understanding that you are going to make mistakes, and that's the thing that will happen. And like, look, it's all good. I think that will carry anybody very far. Like that's the sort of thing. But that being said, we have gone way off into which is we have rabbit holed way down in the other direction. So let's bring this back up to some lighter topics for.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, don't feel bad at all. Like this is the thing we do around here is we go right down rabbit holes and we'll follow them all the way out, and it's just fine.
Absolutely.
So do you have a particular style of video game that you really enjoy playing? Like if you're going to sit down and play a game for 4, 6, 8, 12 hours, like is there a particular genre that you like to play? Unless power cuts out.
Well, there's two, I think, in particular, and it's one of them I can probably actually describe with a genre. Yeah, I can probably get both with a genre, I guess. Each of them are probably like adventure puzzle games. Say like first thing to come to mind is like Legend of Zelda. Any of the Zelda games I can play for a very, very long time. And then like brainless, turn off your brain hack and slash games. Devil May Cry is a big one that comes to mind with mine. Those are two of my favorite series. Those two. Zelda and Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry, absolutely fantastic. I played the first one. Actually, played the first two. Fell in love with the series on the two is by far is my favorite. Like one was good, really? 2 was better. I never got past 2. I stopped playing after 2 because I didn't care. A friend of mine was collecting the entire was collecting the entire series, and he had real bad experiences with 3 because of what they did with the story and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay, nope. So I've never played 3. I've never even looked at any of the gameplay of 3 or watched 3. But
yeah, and now they're at 5. The reboot I was not a fan of, and I didn't really play it. They did Devil May Cry or DMC Devil May Cry reboot where Dante had black hair and was smoking and all that stuff. Like, I'm not a fan. But
Hottie,
rest
that
of them,
is surprising. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. 2 was actually personally my least favorite. Which
Really?
everyone's each their own, of course, right?
Yeah.
For me, it probably goes in order of 3 is my favorite, then 5,
hmm
1, 4, 2. 3, 5, 1, 4, 2. The remake I don't even count in here. It's below. It's below the. It's not there.
It's not even. It's not even on
No.
the picture, right? No, I liked 1. I liked 2, but I only liked what really drove me and sold me for 2 was the expansion of the different forms for Dante with the sword and the guns, especially some of the extra bits that they did around the Joker style with the gun blazing. Like that was always my favorite stuff to do. Was all the
Gunslinger, Swordmaster, Trickster,
Yeah.
and Royal Guard. They added all those, and those were
Yeah.
fun.
So that's
in
why
4 and
that's
5,
why I
they allowed you
enjoyed
to
it.
switch mid-mission instead of switching it every 1 mission. In 4 and
Uh-huh.
5, you can just actively press on the D-pad, and it'll change you from Gunslinger to Swordmaster immediately.
Yo, Vixen, welcome in. Hottie says Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, what their all-time favorite Zelda series. Both of those were good. I actually
some of my very favorites as well. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I was playing those when I was very little. I still have my Nintendo 64 in my bedroom. My TV cannot play on that. My TV has an HDMI, but I still have the N64 in my room. How about you, Nori? Were you much of a Zelda person?
Oh, I was Zelda before Zelda was popular.
Oh, you're talking like Legend of Link and just Legend of Zelda, like.
So I started playing Zelda back in the NES days when they came out with the very first Adventures of Link, and then did the Zelda 2 Link's Awakening on an NES as well. Though I think for me, my all-time favorite was actually I think it's not Link's Awakening was on the Game Boy, and that was the one that I sunk an atrocious amount of time. I probably have close to 4,000 or 5,000 hours in that game. That one was my all-time. I was actually speed running that game back in the day.
Oh, speedruns. Dude, I love watching speedruns, actually. That's probably one of my hobbies is not speedrunning. Watching speedruns is one of my favorites. I'll watch that for entertainment.
Well, I found Gremlins was actually replaying it. They apparently have redone Link's Awakening and brought it into the Switch, and they've redone it over. And so I have been seriously tempted to pick it back up and see exactly how much of a 1-for-1 scale it was to the original Game Boy, and then start speed running that again.
Oh, I love that.
Because it was.
Yeah.
Well, I spent so much time. So we traveled a lot when I was a kid growing up. So for me, I spent an awful lot of time in the back of a car, and so the Game Boy became my game system, my console game growing up as a kid. So yeah, Pokemon wasn't a thing.
No.
Pokemon didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon wasn't a thing until I was actually in my early adult stages.
Was it 96 or 97? I can't remember when.
Yeah, it was somewhere in the. I guess it was been 96, I think.
I can't say I remember because I was born in 97. But,
I remember when it came out. I remember when the Game Boy Color came out. And we thought, wow, Game Boy Color.
It's in color.
It's not in color. it wasn't. It really wasn't much for color.
Was it Game Boy Advance SP? Was SP the first Game Boy to be backlit? Because
Yes.
I remember like being in the back of a car waiting for the headlight or the the lights to go by so that I could
Mhm.
see the game that I was playing.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
remember
It was a
that.
little square form factor that folded in half. It was the very first one
Yes.
that came with its own backlit. It was actually the very first one that was also colored, like true color. Like the original Game Boy Color, their idea of color, and I'm doing big air quotes, was it was basically a glorified amber screen where instead of black and white, you had some ways of getting some slight red pixelation and blue pixelations in there.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. My favorite Zelda game is Wind Waker. GameCube was like my childhood console. My very favorite one, probably. Loved Wind Waker.
There you go. Hey, that's all that matters, right? But I was a big Mega Man fan. Like if you ask me favorite franchise, I would hands down would be a Mega Man fanatic over Zelda any day of the week.
That's cool. Yeah, I played a couple of Mega Mans, and they were fun. But definitely, I mean, like, tell me about it. Like, what kind of things kind of like lured you to that game? What's your favorite Mega Man game? Talk about Mega Man. I love it.
Mega Man. Well, so for me growing up, Mega Man was. I started back in the days of Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2 was probably, for me, has been my all-time favorite, mostly because that was a quintessential piece of tech that was introduced during that Mega Man game. And that was the very first appearance that you'll see of an actual 8-way directional fire in the video game. Like manually selectable 8-way directional file, and that was on the Metal Blades. And so the Metal Blades, you can fire the up, down, left, and right, but the Metal Blades actually did a thing where you could fire them at a diagonal angle. And up until that game was released, that had never been a thing. It was the coolest thing in the world.
I know, when they put Mega Man in Super Smash Bros., he still has that. Like when you use the like saw blade thing, you can direct it in diagonal angles, up, down, left, right, or diagonals everywhere.
Yeah,
too, and that's super cool.
It's so much fun.
I love that.
But that's kind of where that started out for me. And I still, Mega Man speed runs was a thing I used to do back in the day. I tried to pick that back up again.
Those are some good games too.
Yeah, they're not easy. My biggest issue is I want the old NES because there was no input lag on the NES. You can go get the emulators now, and almost every emulator I've played with has an input lag. And so as you're playing it, as it's trying to emulate the environment, you drop frames and it hiccups. And even if you do it on like a high powered computer or whatnot, you still get a lot of this like hiccuping that can occur in it. And it makes it almost impossible.
I agree. Yeah, I've experienced that. Even I've personally found even when you like try to emulate sorry, not emulate, but when you play GameCube games on the Wii, particularly I played Super Smash Melee on the Wii. I could not do it on a newer TV on the Wii. There would be so much input delay. I had to play on the GameCube on an old TV for it to work properly.
Yeah, it's frame lag, and it's a lot of that's just got to do with the technology. I mean, at the days when those things were being made, CRTs were the standards. You didn't have sub-millisecond response times on your monitor. That just was an unheard of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually thinking about Mega Man, one of my favorite series that I was just talking about, Devil May Cry 5. One of the main characters in it, Nero, lost his arm, and he has a bunch of replaceable arms that do different things, have different abilities. and one of the ones from DLC, because Devil May Cry is a Capcom game, is a Mega Blaster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he gets to sit there and blast the little pellets at enemies and stuff.
That's fantastic. Dope would like to know, since Zoda hasn't been around yet, he wants to know, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? He also says that you guys need to play Smash some days. He says when he comes to America, his plan is for you to get him drunk, buy him sushi, and he demands you play Smash.
Yes, that is entirely the plan. I've talked very extensively with Dode about this. I am paying for sushi when he comes, because I told him I would. There's a really cool place right down the road from me that does all-you-can-eat sushi for like $35 for dinner.
Oof. A lot of sushi.
When you, yeah. I mean, some of these rolls, when you get them, there's like 6 pieces to the sushi, and it's like $15, $16. So $35 is not that much when you're gonna eat like 4 or 5 rolls of those. You know, and I have a feeling Dote's gonna make it worth it alone. Like if I paid $70 for just him, he would make it worth it. So just adding me into that is good enough.
So what you're saying is Dote's a pig, huh?
I'm just saying, Dote's a big boy who needs a lot of food. He's over 6 feet tall. That's all I know. I'm a little guy. Right?
What you need is a funnel and just a large bag of food. Just like start pouring down his gullet. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. You know. And then I'm gonna bring him to this bar where I'm gonna make him a bunch of drinks, and we're gonna now we're gonna play Super Smash Bros. That's part of the plan.
Right. Weaken his ability to resist your skills. Got it.
That's it. Yeah. See, you know?
I got the hookups.
My favorite anime, Bartender Glass of God, tells us that alcohol can either be a medicine or a poison. Depends on how you use it.
That's right.
That's right. Super Smash Bros.
See, give yourself a fair advantage, because you know that height difference is really gonna cumbersome pain.
Well, that's the problem, is that I have to try to get him drunk, and that's gonna cost me a lot of alcohol at this bar. So I better win Smash Bros. So, question was, what's my favorite ice cream, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I have a specific answer. It's a very specific answer, right? So there's a few ice cream companies that do s'mores. Now, Ben & Jerry's does it the worst, I will say, for my opinion. They have a chocolate ice cream base with like marshmallows in it and little graham cracker bits.
Right.
Chocolate is such a strong flavor. I think chocolate cannot be your base for a good s'mores ice cream so that you taste every ingredient. I only taste chocolate when I eat that one. There's a brand called Gifford's Family Ice Cream. I buy that at every Hannaford around here near me. Whatever. I don't know how far Gifford's actually goes, spanning across the country or this, whatever.
I've never heard of it before, but okay.
Cool. Yeah. So they do a marshmallow graham cracker swirl ice cream with chocolate chips in it. And that is easily my favorite because it actually, you get to taste everything in that. The chocolate,
right,
even with the chocolate chip, is still very noticeable. You know?
Yeah, chocolate can be a very overpowering flavor. I think whether you have it in a drink or you have it in ice cream or wherever it is that you are having said chocolate.
Otherwise, when that particular one's not available, I usually go for like black raspberry or mint chocolate chip. are some of my favorites. Pistachio is a solid choice. There's a lot of ice cream I like.
Oh, no,
I
not
like ice cream.
pistachio. Ew.
Pistachio, man. Oh yeah.
No,
I go
ew.
to I go to the Puritan. There's a restaurant near me that's the self-proclaimed inventor of chicken tenders. And if you Google who invented chicken tenders, the Puritan backroom, Manchester, New Hampshire, will pop up. It will tell you they invented chicken tenders. Right? This place is like not very far from me. I go there
Right.
all the time. But they're double as an ice cream place in the front. And me and my friends will go there, and every time it's pistachio. We only do pistachio there for some reason. I don't know why.
You know, if it works, it works, right?
Yeah, absolutely, it works.
Pistachio ice cream is okay, but beer ice cream is above everything else. I am not a big beer fan. I don't like hops.
Who said that? Was that
And
Dylan?
no, Zenolin.
Beer ice cream?
Yep, beer ice cream.
I've never had that, and I'd be very interested to have that.
Zenolin is from Zenolin's Lithuanian. I think it's Lithuanian. No, that's not right. That's not right. Latvians. Like, no, I'm like Lithuanian. No. The minute I said it, I'm like, no, that's wrong. That is so wrong.
It's okay. I know
Latvian.
that Dote's from Denmark. Yeah.
There, Steamy is Lithuanian. I'm like, I knew there's a Lithuanian in there somewhere. I got it. I corrected.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, have you heard that we have, and when I say we, okay, I mean, we've made this plan with very multiple content creators to marry Dote through certain patterns to make everybody move to Sweden.
Dote's currently up in arms since you called him Danish.
Yeah, we did call him Danish. I was gonna call him something else too, and then I forgot what the other country is. What are the 3 countries there? Sweden, Denmark. What's the other one that I consider the same? There. Not really.
I do this. We have a buddy of ours, Tom Locke, who hangs around.
Yeah.
And I do it every time. I'm like, I know what nationality Tom is. No, forget it every time.
Mhm.
Finland, Norway. And he gives me such a hard time about it and laughs at me all at the same time, which is absolutely ideal. But yeah, I do it all the time. I'm like, yeah, well, what do you expect? I'm American. I freely admit to being stupid.
No, I mean, if I may say, like, very stupid stuff that my family has done. My longest relationship was she was Peruvian and Puerto Rican, like half and half there, right? I would go to her family gatherings. Her family gatherings, they would all say, "Hey, Ed Sheeran's here." Her grandma walked up to her and said, "What are you doing with this white boy?" I was like, I don't know, right? So one time at my cookouts, one of my family members was saying something like, "Do you want us to get you a taco or something?" And she was like, "I'm not Mexican. Like, what do you?" Like, we make jokes about him because he's white.
Okay.
It was no, yeah. It was like, you didn't succeed in your joke, but they succeed with the edge. That was solid.
Yeah, that's solid. I will absolutely give him that one. That was freaking hysterical.
Oh, it's so good.
That's fantastic. I worked at this company where I worked on the support floor, and there was a gentleman who wanted me to call up a customer to troubleshoot their problem because, and I quote, "I speak it a Mexican."
That's silly, dude.
And I'm like, wait. So because my last name is this, you instantly assume that I am Mexican.
Right.
The guy is like twice my size, and I was feeling particularly feisty that day. So he's twice my size. He looks like a weight builder. I am at this particular point maybe 120 pounds sopping wet, right? So
Right.
about your size. I
Pretty
bowed up to him and I backed him against the wall. He looked like he could play professional football, and I am like David to his Goliath, and I'm like, buddy, I am Puerto Rican, and I'll take you outside and show you exactly how Puerto Ricans handle people who accuse us of being Mexican. I will cut you stem to stern. Like, his eyes were like saucers. He was terrified. And what was funny is the guy who sat next to me, behind me, as the whole thing, this is happening, he was Mexican, and he's dying of laughter.
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's great. You see, the thing is, like, I did not know your nationality at all. Like, you can't tell from your voice.
No.
Like, yeah, you don't speak.
No, I don't speak Spanish very well. Number one, I haven't spoken since I was a little kid.
Know. Sure, right.
No.
Like, you don't have like any kind of accent that would think you would. Anyway, that's where I was just like, I'm really confused that this person's just like, you're speaking Spanish. Like, you're speaking clear English. Like,
oh yeah. But so was everybody on the floor. Like, we all spoke crystal clear English. And so his only suggestion to my nationality was based on my last name. He goes, well, you can speak it the Spanish. And I'm like, no, that is not how that works.
I can leave it if I tried, sir.
Good times. Absolutely freaking hysterical. And again, my colleague sitting next to me who was Mexican, he's, as soon as the dude turns around and slumps back to his desk, he fell out of his chair. He's just laughing, absolutely just losing his mess all over the place. I'm like, will you stop that? We're supposed to be professionals here. Get up off the floor.
I pulled a cat up from the floor, so I'm just completely curious if we've gotten any cat questions.
Nope, no cat questions as of now.
Great.
A lot of people have cats. I've got a pair of them. I've got a white one that, as you heard before we started this up, was into some serious amounts of trouble, and so has ended up in the office space here with us. So.
Buddy is walking around just mowing. Let me pick him up real quick here.
No, you're good.
All right.
Do what you got to do.
Here he is. Buddy. So this is my boy Kitty.
It's another Void Kitty.
He's 21 years old.
Wow.
And
he looks pretty spry for 20.
21-year-old cat, yeah.
I was like, wait, what? You picked him up. I figured he was like, 5, maybe 6 years or something like that. There's no gray in him.
He runs around. Yeah, he's sharp as a tack. I don't know. I got him from my sister-in-law. That was her cat when she was growing up. She moved in with us at one point, and then my brother and her moved out, and they got 2 big dogs, and they were just like, I think he's just happier being in a calm place like your guys' house. So he's like my best friend.
Like, here, you wanted a cat, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. You know what? He's great. He's like my bestie. He sleeps with me at night, and it's crazy. Like, dude, this cat is like hyper and playful at 21 years old.
Well, but it's interesting how cats adjust to things like that, right? Like had there been
Yeah.
a dog would have been brokenhearted over being left behind.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But a cat's like, it's fine.
Yeah, he's like whatever. He
They
made
they roll
friends when
on.
he was here. Yeah. I think that was particularly the big thing though. At least he was very snuggly with like me and my family that I have here. So at least he had like connections where he
Right.
stayed or ended up. Like he wasn't just like dropped in the middle of nowhere with people he doesn't know.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
very good.
That's
Yeah.
like okay. I'm sorry. Anybody that can just pitch an animal out the door.
No heart. They don't have a heart.
It's just wrong.
They just don't have one. No heart. Yeah. My
I
brother
don't take people
currently
like that
has.
and like, hey, I'm gonna take you out in the middle of
English
nowhere and throw you out.
Yeah, I agree. So he's got 150-pound English Mastiff, and
That's a big dog.
yeah, and like 80. I want to guess like 80, 90 pounds Malinois mixed with Black Lab mixed with he's a bunch of things. Great Pyrenees mix. He's just a big black dog with a like German Shepherd shaped face.
Okay.
Those are his two dogs, and they're just so great. Yeah, I have pictures, and if people want, I will drop pictures to both Nori and to my own Discord of me wearing a cowboy hat with a 150-pound English Mastiff on my lap, because I just got those pictures on Sunday.
I love an English Mastiff. Those are they're such fun dogs.
Oh yeah, she's the sweetest thing too. Like she's only 2 years old, so she's still a little bit playful, not fully like lazy all the time.
And yes, they would like you to drop dog pictures in Pet Channel.
Great, we'll do. She was grabbing my arm to like be like, hey, like pay attention to me, or you're coming over here to lay down with me on the couch, right? But when she like grabs my arm with her mouth, like she's not biting or anything. I could barely feel her teeth at all. She was just like, here, come with me, come here.
Yeah.
Like very barely touching, just
Gentle.
to be like, yeah, so gentle. Like it's when people say they could give a dog an egg and they won't crack it.
Mm-hmm.
Very much like that. She was dragging me around the house just so gently, like, here, come lay down on the couch with me and pet me.
Right.
Of course, I got drool all over me because she's...
Well, the drool kind of comes with the territory, though.
Yeah. Yes. She was the best.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I like big dogs. We can't have a big dog anymore. Mostly just because I don't have time to properly train a big dog.
Yeah.
And I refuse to get a dog and bring a dog in that I can't properly take care of. So there's no time for it. It just
That's
not going to be a thing.
I would want like a big parrot that will outlive me. But I'm not going to leave that thing in the cage for 8 to 10 hours while I'm at work every day. That's cruel.
That's just mean.
Yeah. Any type of animal deserves to not be confined for the majority of its time. Confined maybe just at night to sleep or something, but otherwise they should be out and free.
Bone free, let them run.
Oh yeah.
I want all the pets, I can't afford them. Well, Dote, that sounds like a personal problem.
That's right, Dote. That's right. Maybe when we have our 3 families living in Sweden together, we can afford a big dog. After everybody marries Dote.
I'm not marrying Dote. Sorry, Dote's not my type. He's too tall.
Yeah, he's very tall.
I have the time, not the money. That's always the case, right? Everybody has time, never the money.
That's it.
But I mean that kind of goes back into the whole statement, right? If you can't take care of the living creature, it's just that it's a living creature, then you shouldn't be having said living creature.
Yeah, it's a living creature and a family member at that. I like this thing becomes just as important to me, like just as important to me as any other family member.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love those animals.
Oh yeah. Good pets, good fun, good friends.
A mentor who was one of the bosses at one of the fanciest bars that I worked at. I hosted for him and became personal friends with him after we met and after he moved on to a better position.
Right.
Once we were not coworkers anymore, I was just like, okay, cool, we can hang out personally now. Go to bars together. I can invite you over. I can hang out at your house, stuff like that. And yeah, it was like 2 weeks after he stopped working at my bar. He was just like, I'm going to Italy for 3 weeks. Will you live at my house? Because I need someone to take care of my dog and my 3 cats, and I live alone. And his house was right down the street from mine in a good neighborhood and everything. So I was like, I'm not worried. Yeah,
sold. So, do you need a house? Got it.
When he came back, he gave me like 3 bottles of whiskey, Italian Amaro, and etc. Like he gave me like bottles of liquor and a bunch of merch, a backpack, and stuff like that to say thank you, as well as paying me and giving me money for food and stuff like that. He was just like, when I tell you that you were watching my family and making sure my family was safe, I mean, I'm going to pay you like you were watching my family and keeping my family safe.
There you go.
You know, it was a great time. Like, he has a golden retriever mixed with a pointer, so he's just like a skinny golden.
Yep. And a lot of energy.
Oh yeah. He's like 9 years old, so he has like some energy still in there. But
he's old dog then. Okay.
Yeah, he still has some energy, but he likes to lay around a lot too. And then 3 cats. So I was taking care of all of them, and for someone my age at the time, this was like 3 years ago, so I was like 24. It was nice to feel like I had a house to myself for 3 weeks. Right. So I was like, this is all win-win, right? Like I have independence, I get paid, and I get to hang out and snuggle with a dog and cats all day. Like,
that sounds cool. Like victory conditions to me.
It's really victory conditions. It was like, why would I ever say no to this? If I ever said no to this, know that it's not me. It's an imposter.
Yeah, you got the wrong person. Right. That doesn't count. Only valid question is, how dare you? I think we dare anything. I think we dare anything around here. You should know better than that.
We dare whatever we wish.
And Dote would also like to know, didn't we change the plan to marry to, let me see, didn't we change the plan to me marry my Japanese friend and then you all marry me so we can go live in a cheap home in Japan instead?
Okay, that's fine. Sweden or Japan, those places both sound very good. I think originally, what was it? The plan was for me to also make money from Crimson Cat by marrying her. I think she had said something like, we get money for getting married, so we're gonna do that, and then each marry Dote one at a time. It
The
was
only thing I
weird.
would say is be careful when dealing with Crimson Cat. She exacts blood for everything.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, listen, let me see how well the camera picks it up. I have some pretty good veins here. You know, it could be done cleanly without very much harm. You know?
I wouldn't make any guarantees on any of that.
No guarantee. No.
Cat likes to bite.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. That's just fun to tease. It's all good.
No, yeah. We're all playing around. Like, we have some
it's fine.
We have good plans.
It sounds like you guys have been making some
place in Japan or Sweden.
Okay, well, you brought it up. Any particular place in Japan you would like to visit?
Yes, I have two, and if I may,
the stream's all yours. Do what you want.
2 or 3 seconds off screen, I have to grab something real quick.
Yeah.
Because it will allow me to demonstrate this better.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be just fine. I will keep you guys preoccupied and remind all of our viewing that we are currently sit down having a wonderful conversation with the Tropical Raven. You can find them. Their information is right there underneath their picture. So make sure you go like, subscribe, follow, and or do whatever is necessary to make certain that you can keep up with all of their excellent content that they bring forward.
Yes. So there are 2 or 3 places in particular that I would like to visit in Japan, particularly because of my own interests and hobbies. There is, of course, the oldest distillery, the Yamazaki Distillery by Suntory, that produces some fantastic whiskeys. They're the oldest whiskey distillery in Japan. The Yamazaki 12-year here is the most expensive bottle that I own. I own 2 of them. This is like $200 a bottle or so.
Yeah, that's expensive stuff. That's what that is.
I don't have crazy expensive bottles, right? Like there's some that are insane out there, but this is like $200 a bottle. This is fantastic. The Yamazaki distillery was created, I think in early 1900, like 1920s or so, like that. This particular person who opened the distillery had a master distiller named Masataka Taketsuru, who is known as the father of Japanese whiskey. He did his 10-year contract as the lead distiller for Suntory, the oldest Japanese whiskey company. After which he moved on to make his own company called Nikka. So Nikka, you'll see a lot of out there if you're looking for Japanese whiskeys as well. This particular bottle is $100, and hard to say, but I would argue just as good. This one, the Yoichi,
up there. Yoichi
is in Yoichi, Japan. This one is a distillery that is in Hokkaido. Hokkaido Yoichi Distillery. So I would like to visit the distilleries for Nikka and Suntory, each individually, and learn a lot of their techniques, tastings, education, anything they can tell me about Japanese whiskey, which I find to be my favorite spirit out there. You'll find the highball that I was drinking was with Suntory Toki Japanese whiskey, and the core of just straight whiskey I had was my Yamazaki 12-year. I love Japanese whiskey. It's my favorite spirit.
It's good stuff.
So those would be the places. Yeah, those would be the places I'd like to visit in Japan.
Fascinating.
Absolutely. How about you? I'm actually super interested. Like, I know this is like an interview on my part, but I'm actually kind of
No,
interested where you would
ask all the.
go.
I tell everybody that you're free to ask just as many questions as I'm asking you. It's just fine.
Yeah. So like, where's somewhere you would like to visit, and in particular, where in that country slash city,
Oh,
town, whatever.
I'm definitely going to Japan. So I took, I don't know, 4 years ago, and self-taught myself Japanese. Mostly, I taught myself Japanese so that I could listen to my Japanese anime while crocheting and knitting, because I can't read subtitles while doing that.
Right.
It was wrong. So I self-taught myself Japanese, which has proved to be actually very fun and useful, since a couple of coworkers I started talking to in later companies were actually Japanese, and so we could have native language conversations with them, which was fun. They also helped me work on my Japanese and clean it up a little bit.
I mean, having like learning the language and getting actual like practical conversation is like two completely different things, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, so that was fun. But for me, I want to go. If I go anywhere, it's going to be to go to Japan, and that's only because I actually do want to do the standard, typical geek chic sort of thing and go visit Akihabara. So
yeah.
Hi, Bates. Welcome in.
Welcome.
But that's for me. That's the thing. I actually have a friend who lives out there in that area. And my son's wife's, one of her Christmas presents, we actually shipped from over there. He went into town and picked it up. That was kind of absolutely fantastic. Same, right? Yeah, I know. Same. It's clash. It's very gauche. It's very traditional touristy thing. Oh, you're going to Japan, you've got to go to Akihabara. Yes, I would be, but I would be going to Akihabara looking for the little. So there's actually have a list of places to go visit, and each one of these are like really hole in the wall dive shops. They're like tucked around the corner. You have to almost know somebody who's there to even know that they exist. So there are a couple of these places like that I want to go visit, because I really like hole in the wall shops. They're so cool. They have a lot of history. You go into these like little small dive centers and whatnot, and there's so much history wrapped up in it. Which is why when you're like, oh yeah, I used to work at a speakeasy, I'm like, oh brother. The speakeasy is like
speakeasies are dives.
Yes, that's literally what they're all about, is being a dive, and they have so much history, and there's a lot of really cool things that comes out of like historically on speakeasies and whatnot that are just absolutely fascinating. Now following me.
Aha! Look at that.
There you go. Hop in the squat. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. Stream, but it would be close enough if I was just sitting here sipping whiskey and talking to chat. That's what I think the stream should be in my future. That's what it's going to be.
There you go.
Yeah.
It works, right? You sit back and you just like, hey, come talk alcohol, come talk shop, come just talk. You want therapy? We got good vibes here. Mental health, the whole 9 yards. You just kind of cover the basics of it. You're like, what we don't know, we can learn together.
Yeah. Now, do you watch Uncle Roger?
Yes, I know who Uncle Roger is.
Well, semi recently he had so he had talked about this Amu Rice place to go, and that is a place that I would like to go to as well. I don't remember the place was the name off the top of my head of the place. I cannot remember.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a huge reason to go to Japan, is the food. First off, I mean,
oh yes,
I've heard incredible things. One of my friends Ali, his family is not from Japan, but he grew up in Japan because his father took a job there for most of his life. He just moved here when he turned 19. Pretty
Right.
awesome friend of mine that I just met like last year. And I'll take him to different sushi places and stuff, and he'll be like, for American sushi, this is really good. But he's telling me about he's like, this is really for American sushi, it's solid, and he's like, no lie, because I've been to American sushi places and they're not good, right? But it is just an entirely different game, Like this
It
is
is.
not like Japanese Japanese sushi, whatever. Completely different thing.
Well, it's a
food in
different
Japan is on a
fish
different
that you
level.
get your hands on. Not all of it's different, but there's enough of a difference in the fish, how they're grown, raised, the flavors you're going to get from that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with a sushi chef. There's actually just down the road. There's an authentic, and when I say authentic, I mean the family that owns the restaurant is Japanese. Big Japanese chef from Japan come over here, and I've had conversations with him, and he's like, "You don't get good Japanese sushi around here. You can't. We give you best Japanese sushi we possibly can, but to get the good stuff, you can't get that here. You have to go to Japan. It's difference in the way the fish tastes is different, and even that, like Japanese, we have tuna here. You have tuna, fine. Japanese tuna tastes different. Period.
Right. Yeah. And like there's a bunch of things that like he's telling me and things that I end up picking up on from him. Between like like you can just pick up this food with your hand, like that's not weird.
Yeah.
Or like this is not how it is in Japan, this is how it is in America, whatever. He'll draw these differences for me and kind of tell me all about it. We've talked about going to Japan together, and he would be like my tour guide because he lived there for the first 19 years of his life.
There you go.
Super cool to hear that kind of stuff from someone, and I'm just like, all right, you're gonna bring me to these different distilleries that are on very different places in Japan. Like they're not. I can't tell you how particularly close they are because I'm not familiar with the areas, but they're not the next town over between these distilleries that are my destinations. But he's
No, I would imagine probably not, but I would imagine if they're used to the area, they're local or anything, or they've been in the area, then they should be able to find their way around pretty well. It's just still, it's going to be an outstanding adventure.
Yeah, I mean, that would be it, exactly. I mean, I'd get to go to different places in Japan. I might get to see, not all of it, but a fair amount between going to these different destination places. I might get to see, like, this is what it's like in this general area, and this general area, it's a little different, and I get to kind of see how it goes. Just like in any given state, like, I mean, southern New Hampshire to northern New Hampshire is not the same thing. They're completely different places.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a state within a country, so different towns in Japan, different cities, provinces, whatever they have, are all going to be, I'm sure, very, very different. And that'll be fun to see the kind of the differences between those. One of these distilleries is at the base of 3 rivers, and the other one is in the mountains. So.
Oh wow, that'll be a fantastic trip.
It'll be different.
DM Cerberus would like to know, as someone who knows incredibly little about alcohol, what makes Japanese whiskey special compared to others? Is it simply where it's brewed, or is there something different within the flavors itself?
Yes, so very interesting. This is actually something in particular that I can answer a lot more with a lot more education than a lot of other spirits that you may ask me about. Gin and Japanese whiskey are the two that you could ask me a lot of details about, and I might be able to give you a lot of answers. Japanese whiskey was mainly created by a Japanese chemist named Masataka Taketsuru. This guy moved to Scotland to learn about great whiskey. Scotland was very well known as making the best whiskey in the world for a long time, and still potentially is. Of course, Scotch is amazing. So this guy learned how to make Scotch essentially, but when he moved to Japan, there's different climates, there's different available resources and ingredients. So he took what he knew about making fantastic whiskey and just applied it to what he could see in Japan. This is where the Suntory Yamazaki distillery came from at the base of Three Rivers. There's different things that go into it, like your climate, your ingredients that you use in the whiskey, particularly like there's your grain. Any whiskey is distilled from grain, so you'll choose whether you're going to use, say, some things are made with rice, potato. Like when you go to like particularly vodka, I've seen vodka made with like potatoes, rice, um, whiskeys made with like corn, rye, wheat. Like all of these ingredients go into it and change the flavors quite a bit, of course. But how you age it and what barrels you age it in, the climate in which you age it in, all have different effects on the flavor of the whiskey when you taste it in the end. Particularly this one that I was just talking about. Sorry, here. The
You're fine.
Yoichi from Nika. Probably my favorite Japanese whiskey that I have is quite peaty, smoky in flavor. Like it tastes a little bit like smoke. A lot of people won't like that. It's an acquired taste, but one of my favorite things. And then the same Nika company has a different one called the Miyagi-Kyo that is finished a little bit differently in different barrels. I believe at a different distillery run by Nika in a different location has a completely different flavor. I'm not even sure if they used a different grain or if it's just finished differently in a different location. So an infinite number of things can go into what makes a liquor taste different. But traditionally, Japanese whiskeys have a lot more of like a lighter flavor, a little bit more floral and easier to palate flavors than Scotch, which have a lot more like aggressive flavors that you're gonna taste. Their smoky Scotches are you are drinking liquid smoke, you know. Um, so that's the main difference, and a lot of different things that go into making Japanese whiskey in particular. Hope that I put enough details into that. um, yeah,
I would say so. The egg, no, that's all good.
Good.
You're good. If you feel like you have sufficiently answered the question, and I feel like you have sufficiently answered the question.
There is a deep thing.
That's kind of how this works because I don't know anything about the cocktail.
Yes. So like that's. I mean, I have to do research into these things sometimes. Like I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, even about their own specific subject, right? So I'll choose specific things, and I'm going to do research on it. Fun fact, actually, the reason I went in deep dive into Japanese whiskey was because of the show Cobra Kai, about the Karate Kid whole thing and everything. Have you seen anything about Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai was the one that followed after the net results of Karate Kid and what happened to the Kai dojo, the Cobra Kai dojo.
Yes, yeah. It follows the like blonde villain
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, I think it was Johnny. I don't know. It
Uh,
follows
yeah.
him as the main character,
Yep.
right? And how he's just kind of like grown up to be like, whoa, whatever. Like he is haunted by that moment, and he wants to make a better name for the Cobra Kai dojo or whatever. Cool, really cool series, right? At some point, um, they were talking about Japanese whiskey between one of the Cobra Kai instructors from one of the Karate Kid movies and uh, Daniel in the because he's actually in the series. The guy who played Daniel is in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Between them, they were talking about Japanese whiskey, and the person had said, "Do you know a man by the name of Masataka Taketsuru?" And he kind of told the vague, big details about this person and how Japanese whiskey came to be. And I was like, that's super fucking interesting. Let me read more about that. A lot of what I tell people about how Japanese whiskey came to be is mainly knowledge given to me from Cobra Kai. However, I've supplemented it with actual accurate facts and history from uh, different sources that I've learned about by doing my own research.
Right.
Because I'm not going to take something just from a Netflix show as fact. But it was pretty accurate.
Okay, sound. Hey, Vixen, welcome back. I'm glad you have sound. Let's see. Rutherford. Well, Dote Game wants to know. Well, we'll start with Dote since his is actually technically here on top first. Wants to know, what is your favorite cocktail to make and why?
My favorite cocktail to make, very simply, is probably either an old fashioned or a highball. Both of them, in particularly, are very spirit forward cocktails. I like my spirit forward cocktails. Spirit forward meaning that most of the ingredients in the drink are your liquors. Your martinis are mainly gin. Your old fashions are mainly whiskey. Highballs are mainly Japanese whiskey a lot of the times. These in particular I like because I get to taste the individual craft of the distiller more so than only the bartender. There's a lot of things that a bartender can do to make their own drinks taste different when it's even something as simple as a highball, which is just whiskey and club soda. There's a surprising amount that you can do within ratios and choice of spirit that'll make the drink taste very different. But there's not a lot of fully formed cocktails that aren't spirit forward where you're going to taste the difference between this bourbon and that bourbon, where this gin and this gin will make the drink taste completely different. Unless you have a very trained palate, it'll be a lot more obvious in a gin martini where 2.5 ounces of the 3-ounce drink is gin. When I switch the gin, it'll be very obvious.
Okay.
So I really like my spirit forward type stuff. Martinis, old fashions, highballs are my favorite cocktails to make from that.
See, and I just honestly I like a more heavy liquor sort of drink, so I don't do too much in the way of cocktails. If I do, it's probably like, you know, two shots of some liquor and then maybe a dash of some kind of mixer, like not a whole lot.
In particular, with you'll probably even be able to taste the difference if I was to use, you know, Bullet bourbon versus if I gave you Jack Daniels. You know?
Oh no! Now you're giving my palate far too much credit.
I believe you would taste a difference. You may not particularly be like, yes, this is that and this is that, but you will taste a difference between the two. You know, you'll be like, this is not the same thing as the last thing you gave me.
I will have to take your word on that one. I don't go drinking an awful lot enough to make that much of a difference. Let's see. Brother Feared would like to know, what guilty pleasure do you have that you are embarrassed by?
Guilty pleasure I'm embarrassed by. Oh, jeez. Um, hmm. See. Um, oh, ooh, that's a question I wasn't exactly ready for. I'm just like, ooh. What am I
Yeah, that happens
embarrassed
around here.
pleasure? Yeah, absolutely. Um, hmm. Um, I think it's in particular my interest in martial arts that I used to tell people a lot about. I used to do a lot of martial arts growing up, and still try my best to make it to some classes between different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it has a little bit of a bad reputation on it when you say things like "I do karate" or something like that. You know, people will think like you do the grab my wrist. No, no, do it again. Do it again. You didn't do it right. You know, like stuff like that. Um, I think there's a preconceived notion of like weirdos doing martial arts when I think that a lot of that comes from uh, really poor taught places that teach you poorly. Um, I've learned a lot through martial arts and learned to better myself as a person, whether or not it makes me a person who can actually fight better than if I had not. I think that it's taught me very important lessons, and that's something that I stand by. However, I do sometimes get embarrassed to admit, just because of those preconceived notions.
Fair. Absolutely fair. Zen has a question from the Baltic States people.
Yes.
Zen says, question from the Baltic States people that is somewhat related, but not that much. Do you know what a kvass is? And if yes, have you ever tasted it? I don't even know if I said that word right.
Ooh. Yeah, it's interesting. I can't say that I have. Granted, if you had said it correctly, um, based on your pronunciation, I don't think I've had that, and I can't think of anything.
She's got it spelled KVASS. So if the K is silent, then it would just be Vas, and if it's not, then yeah, Vas.
Yeah, I can't say I have off the top of my head, but I'd be interested if you tell me roughly what that is. I'm actually very interested in that after.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Mhm.
Oof.
Was.
Your internet's going a little wonky, buddy. Your internet's gone a little wonky.
Wonky.
There it goes. It cut back up.
There you go.
Yeah, a little wonky. That's the technical term.
That happens. Yeah, wonk.
Wonk, right?
The old wonk.
Do this. Zerb, we did cover the tropical raven name. That's our first two questions of the night. So, well,
if you'd like, actually, for the person who asked that question, I can elaborate a little bit, even more so.
Well, I think before we get started down that, I'm going to hold you there for just 1 second, because I do want to get. We can elaborate on that for Serb.
Yeah.
But I have one that's still along the same vein of the things that we have been talking about. So I figured this was probably
sure.
We'll hit that one, and then
we have lined up.
So Vixen says, I love a B52 shot so much so I will increase the portion size and mix it to make it a sippable drink. Don't hate me.
Yes.
Are there any shots that you'd consider good enough to make into a cocktail / sippable drink?
Yes. So there are a few. So the kamikaze is often regarded as a shot. However, that essentially is just a vodka margarita in my brain. So that's vodka, triple sec or Cointreau I like to use because it's a lot more dry, and lime juice. So you get a lot of tart, orange, lime, and vodka is usually not super present. A kamikaze is a solid choice from a shot that moves over into a full drink. One in particular that I have made before for my mother and for myself is called a jam donut. There's a shot called a jam donut where you use Chambord, which is a black raspberry liquor, and Bailey's, the Irish cream. Together, it kind of almost gives you this like creamy, not super strong chocolate, but maybe a slight amount with the black raspberry in there. And essentially, a jam donut like is what the idea is to give you with salt rim on that. I have raised the amounts of that and added a little bit of like vodka as just like a base to kind of dilute, but also keep this good alcohol content into the drink. And made that into a full cocktail for my mom, which we have really liked. I found my favorite version of transferring that into a full cocktail was actually taking inspiration from the same place I was talking about earlier, the Puritan that claims to have invented chicken tenders. Also pretty well known because of their ice cream and being a restaurant. Very well known for making mudslides. I made my own mudslide using Bailey's, Chambord, and coconut rum. So I get coconut rum mixed with black raspberry with like a little bit of like a cream with a little bit of like almost kind of a chocolatey kind of taste to it. Irish cream has its own kind of taste, and people who know. And I make a mudslide out of that. Maybe a little bit of black raspberry ice cream in the blender with the ice to make a big frozen mudslide out of that. It's a solid shot transitioned into a cocktail that I really like.
There you go. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a tropical raven drink if I say so myself. That's tropical right there. Coconut raspberry? Come on.
Hey, see, and that's what you need to lean back into, right? In your streams, be like, make some kind of a free, like, just lean back and like, now that's a tropical raven drink if ever I seen. Right. Like that just needs to be your signature thing, right? Just lean back into be like, yeah, that's a tropical raven drink.
That'll be my treasure pack. That's a tropical raven drink.
Right. See. No.
That's it.
Just lean back into that. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Just lean back. Yeah. You gotta have a catchphrase. That's your catchphrase, right? You just lean back into that. That's a tropical raven drink. Like seal of approval, right?
Hit him with the seal of approval. I actually have a excuse my disappearance from screen for a second.
No, you're fine.
But it's just right on the bar. For my big ice cubes, I have a little Tropical Raven logo ice mold that I put onto my big ice cubes. It's
That's fantastic.
Same picture as my logo, which is my tattoo, which is also on the shoulders of my hoodies. My newer hoodies have it right here on the chest. Don't pay attention to the one that's on my chest now. Don't worry about it.
just don't look at that one. It's everything else is fine.
Don't look at the only one that you can see very well. Don't look at it. Yeah.
It's fine.
So I like to stamp the Tropical Raven logo onto a lot of my drinks that I make with just a big ice cube in it, which is particularly like my old fashions, my Negronis, things like that, which Negroni is a drink that's really grown on me. If you've had it or if anybody's had it, really popular drink, but very, very bitter. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. Campari is like a bitter
Oh,
orange
yeah,
liquor.
I've had all of those.
Yep, all mixed together and then garnished with an orange peel over a rock of ice. Um, Bitter drink, but it's grown on me quite a bit throughout the years.
Yeah, that would be one that would kind of have to kind of grow on you just a little bit.
Yeah, because at first I was like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever had. I can tell you, when I turned like 21, I got the stuff for that. So like 21, 22-year-old Max, I was just like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my life. And now it's something I actively choose to drink.
Okay.
Like more
There you
so than
go.
a lot of other drinks.
It's interesting how much taste buds and everything. So you replace your taste buds periodically. So it's always
Yeah.
interesting to watch that occur over time, especially as you get older. You're
Yeah.
you're replacing those taste buds. So that's always
Yeah,
fun.
I'll go back. Some of my friends and family will go back and be like, "Yo, can you make this drink that you used to make me when you were 21 or 22?" And now I'll look back at it and just be like, "Do I have to?" Like it's almost like cringing at your
Oh,
past self. I'm just like, I think that drink looks horrible. I can make you a better one that I make currently. But they
so
asked
you
for what they asked
definitely
for. So,
struck a chord with Vixen as far as your jam donut drink. They are all about
oh yeah,
that.
oh, fantastic. Yeah. Equal parts
Uh,
for all of those ingredients. I mean, I'll give it out right now. I have a couple of TikToks about it that I have up and Instagram, whatever of that.
Vixen, you're allowed to ask any questions you want to ask. That's what this is all about. So
That's
feel free to
right. That's
ask
right.
all the questions you want to ask. Ask all the questions you want to ask. Vixen also wants to know, have you ever tried an amaretto and Irish cream? It was something she was put onto as a bartender and had never heard of it before. It tastes like a cherry bakewell.
Yeah. I've never had amaretto and Irish cream particularly together. Um, I could say I could see where that kind of comes together, and I could see myself really liking that. Particularly, I could even think about putting that into like a frozen cocktail together, like a mudslide almost kind of thing. Oh, I mean, I almost always think about that when you think like Irish cream plus another liquor plus base spirit, you can get like a sweeter mudslide almost type of thing. Um, that might be a possibility for something I'm going to try very soon in the future. Look out for a TikTok of just trying those two and then trying to apply it to a full cocktail because I might be doing that very soon. You got
There you go.
piqued my interest, and that's biggest thing that I'm always looking for from the Tropical Raven, both on my TikTok, my Instagram, Twitch, everything, is
Mm-hmm.
ideas, things to react to, things to question. Um, a lot of my current audience, I love my current audience, but they are a lot of people that just like to view and enjoy. I don't get a lot of questions or um, requests very often. I would love to see a bit of that.
There you go. Short Bud, welcome in. Welcome in. So, for all of our new people popping in here, we've got a new crowd coming around here, and we're going to start getting some more questions coming through. We are doing Talk Tuesday. Talk Tuesday is a thing where we come in every week here on Tuesday. We have a special guest streamer. Today's special guest, who you see up on stream right now, his socials are all there down below the picture. His name's in the title. Definitely many different ways to catch up and follow this absolutely amazing gentleman that's here with us today is the Tropical Raven. We've been having an absolutely delightful conversation with him all evening long. We've talked about games, we've talked about drinks, we've talked about everything under the sun and then some, including some dogs, some cats, house sittings, and all kinds of little fun things. If you have questions, it's one channel point. It's down there. Hit the button. Ask the man a question. This is your chance to get in here and get to know what is the Tropical Raven brand. And who knows, maybe one day you too will be having a drink that has been signed by the Tropical Raven.
That's right. That's right. It's a big thing. I'm really excited for the day. I've still never seen it. To the day where a viewer tells me how much they liked a drink that I invented, that they've tried because of me, or that I've educated them on, and that they love. Any of those things, either to see like a full video or even just a comment where somebody was like, "Hey, you talked about using this pomegranate liquor and whatever, like blood orange juice in a cocktail. I tried it and I love it." Like,
Yeah.
I would love to hear that kind of thing. Any content creator, I'm sure, would love to hear that you enjoyed something that they've told you to try or told you about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for that day because I know it's coming.
That's right. And that's the thing, right? Is you keep getting out there, you keep doing the thing, you keep putting out excellent content and telling everybody about the things, and it'll happen, right? People are like,
Absolutely.
yes, I followed, I did the thing. Oh my God, you have no idea what you guys are missing out on. Let me tell you.
I think you guys are missing out on it. Like I think just a fairly common missed out on thing is just pomegranates in general. Like, I bought pomegranates multiple times every time I make this Persephone drink I've talked about a couple of times in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And just taking a fresh pomegranate and cutting it open and taking out the seeds and just eating fresh pomegranate is something that's just like awesome. Like, I don't know, like fresh pomegranate is way better than I've ever thought it was. I love pomegranates.
I don't know. I don't know that I'm a big pomegranate fan. I don't know that I've had an awful lot of pomegranates to come down on the side of the fence. Usually for me, pomegranate is just some kind of extra flavor within a drink.
Yeah.
Because they've mixed it in with something that I'm drinking, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Whatever. Yeah. It's part of the drink that I'm drinking, and that's all I know.
I think that's true. I mean, I see that a lot with like blueberry. They do like blueberry pomegranate or pomegranate, acai. Is it acai or whatever?
Acai?
Yeah, whatever. However, is like it's always pomegranate, like hidden by something else. And potentially I have a little bit of that going on with my cocktail, but there's a fair amount of pomegranate flavor in the cocktail that I like to put forward, particularly as it relates to mythology and Persephone. I particularly wanted pomegranate to actually like show its face in this drink, and I love it so far. Yeah.
See, there you go, brother. Fixed it.
Yeah. Fixing the perception of what I see out there.
Oh, well, looky there. You get to talk about your drink again. Sean Deveron would like to know, what was the most complicated drink you've made, or the most complex drink you've ever made?
Ooh, it's not the current one that I was talking about, actually.
No. Oh, wow. I'm surprised. Okay.
No. Now we get to talk about
hit us with the big guns.
Milk clarification is one of my favorite things. So I take quite a few cocktails. I'm actually potentially taking this Persephone cocktail and doing this. Milk clarification is a very interesting process of filtering out a cocktail using milk proteins. Milk proteins like to take out a lot of the astringent bitterness, burn from alcohol, and extra offensive tart flavors out of your drink. So essentially, milk clarification is I will batch a cocktail. I'll take whatever cocktail I really like and make maybe 5 to 10 batches of it in a big bowl. Take a separate big bowl and add about a quarter of the other batch in whole milk, and then I'll slowly pour the batch of cocktails into the milk, and it particularly only works if the cocktail has lemon or lime juice in it, or like
Okay.
a citrus in general. When you mix a citrus with milk, it causes the milk to solidify, to curdle. So it'll form some solid chunks in it. It's not like the milk's going bad, it's just a chemical reaction forcing it to solidify.
Right.
Um, then I will take that as it forms solid particles and filter that out through a coffee filter with a metal strainer around it. So you have three forms of filtration. You have your metal strainer with a coffee filter, and then the milk itself forms a layer of filtration. What comes out at the bottom is um, a cocktail that's mostly purified of color. So it oftentimes comes out pretty clear, if not very much more clear than your base cocktail.
Okay.
Um, then it comes out smooth. It almost has like that silky milk texture, but no milk flavor. And it has not very much astringent bitterness, acid, or burn to it. You get a full cocktail out of that that just looks incredibly um, minimalistic, artsy, tastes amazing, and takes a lot of back work, but not a lot of during service work. So if I was to prepare this on a bar day, I'd be doing it during the mornings, the days, and then at night, I just take a bottle and pour it into a glass and pass it to you. And it's completely clear, but it tastes like a margarita. And it's amazing to people. It tastes like a Mai Tai, it tastes like a daiquiri, whatever, but it's completely see through. It looks like water, you know?
Sounds like a magic trick, is what it sounds like.
It's super cool magic trick, right? And so I use that as a part of I've made a Mai Tai like that, and then used pineapple in the Mai Tai, which don't get me started. Pineapple is not normally an ingredient in Mai Tais. I made a pineapple Mai Tai with that, with a ginger juice float. So ginger floating on top of my entire Mai Tai with a pineapple flavored foam, just like as I described earlier, my vanilla foam that I put on top of my Persephone drink. A homemade, like bubble bath consistency foam, pineapple flavored, on top of this ginger juice on top of a Mai Tai. And that was probably the most complicated drink I made for one of my closest friends ever for her birthday.
I'll be honest with you,
It
you're a
was
better man than
crazy.
me. Unfortunately, you started going into that, and I'm like, there's so many steps into this I can't even fathom. My eyes just kind of glazed
Yeah.
over. It's just like,
Well, that's it too. Like if it was described to me like that, I think I would be the same way. But like really for me it was just making a Mai Tai and then pouring it into milk and then letting that strain out. And then in the meantime it was just learning how to make the foam that I already pretty much knew how to make. In fact, we actually even took pineapple and we would cut up some bits of pineapple and put it in the oven until it like kind of dried over into a flower shape in a cupcake pan. So we
mm-hmm,
even garnished it with like a pineapple flower shaped like dried pineapple bit.
right.
Um, between me and my mentor, we kind of worked on it together. It was really complicated, yes, but in practice, it felt a lot less complicated than verbally explaining it. You know?
uh, no,
Um,
I totally get that. I imagine that's what I sound like when I go into programmatic explanations about why a piece of software is behaving a specific way.
yeah, right. Like I would have no idea what you're talking about. See, that's where I love that people's passions come out in different ways, and
Yeah.
um, in particular, I think anime actually has such an amazing way of portraying those kind of passions. I would never be interested in anything having to do with volleyball, right? And then Haikyuu comes out, and anime
Or
has a
Blue
way of
Lock in
taking
soccer.
somebody's
Yeah.
yeah, right. Like, so anime has its way of taking somebody's interest and beautifying it in a way that everybody's going to look at it and be like, wow, it's so much more deep and cool and amazing and beautiful than I thought it was. And it's like, no, that's just the magic of anime. However, some people actually see volleyball as this beautiful, elegant thing that you're seeing in this anime.
Yep.
Just like an anime that I watch called Bartender Glass of God, we have a little bit of a reaction channel going on the YouTube about that right now. But that anime highlights bartending in that very same way, where it looks like beautiful, elegant, very scientific, specific, and uh, everything about it just really highlights what I see in bartending that I feel a lot of people don't see. I love that about any given hobby that anybody has can be like that.
Right. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So as you we are you're definitely well past the halfway point in the 2024 season. So you're looking forward to the rest of this year. Any like big plans you have on the horizon? Something that you're looking forward to? Special events you're thinking about doing? Anything of that sort of nature?
Well, I have been asked by a friend to start planning. It's not something this year, but he wants to start planning this year his wedding. And he wants me to be the bartender for his wedding. Zach, if you're watching this, I don't know, he's sometimes a viewer. My good friend Zach wants me to be the bartender at his wedding. I just need to find a couple of my mentors, friends, whoever, for like a 90 to 100 person wedding who will be able to keep up, help me with somewhat complicated drinks, I'm hoping, but maybe not like so complicated that they can't do it. Enough to be able to cater this wedding as a bartender's point of view and be proud of it. I'm super excited for the opportunity to do this, and that's the biggest thing on my horizon. For the rest of the current year, I mean, really, it's just every holiday as it comes. Say like Thanksgiving, I plan on creating a cocktail unique for Thanksgiving to be serving in a big batch or be actively serving my family. Christmas will be the same thing, mainly to pour up a unique cocktail and serve it up to my family and my friends who come to the gatherings for those. And I mean, like a little bit of Christmas is part of what I was actually going to be mentioning a little bit, is that actually part of the Tropical Raven thing comes from kind of like a twist on my religions growing up or whatever, but wasn't always exactly Christian, but we still like to like celebrate by like giving each other gifts and stuff like that. It's not 100% the same thing, but it's close enough. You know what I mean? But yeah, so like that's the big thing for me is really I like to evolve by creating more cocktails, and that's uh kind of like the biggest thing I can find to um goals and benchmarks for myself is how I improve my drinks. As simple as that may be, or um not super climactic as that may be.
No, that's what you're excited about, dude. That's kind of how this works, right? You know, if you're excited about it and you're talking about it, then we're going to be excited about it. And you know, if it's something that people can take part in, then you know it's a good way of letting them know about it. you know, this is the sort of thing.
Yeah, I know there's passion
Be a
fruit liquor.
bartender for Tropical Raven.
And then cranberry liquor that I'm probably gonna do something with for Thanksgiving. What was up? What was that? It was for the
Brotherford says, "Be a bartender with Tropical Raven. Sounds like a job for Dote."
Yeah, we've talked about this. I mean, Dote has talked about we're gonna have a bar just like this, and I'm just gonna sleep on like a cot behind the bar or something like that, like just maybe a sleeping bag even, just behind the bar. I live here rent free, but the job is if anybody in the house wants a drink, I have to make it. That's it.
There you go.
We've made plenty of food.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Ooh, new face. Hello. Hi, Steamy. We were just talking about you earlier.
Hi. Welcome. It's s'mores ice cream made with specifically a marshmallow and graham cracker twist with chocolate chips in it. Not with
that would be Zodicus. Zodicus is the one who asked about the ice cream. Steamy was the Lithuanian.
Oh. Okay. It's okay. I'm getting confused. Ice cream, though.
It's fine. It's fine. I like my Moose Tracks ice cream, but I like it because it is mostly a vanilla ice cream with a ribbon of fudge through it. And the little Reese's peanut butter cups are just nice little.
Oh, I love like cookie dough too. I mean, like there's not a lot of bad ice cream flavors in my opinion out there. Like I will eat a lot of ice cream flavors.
In my opinion, there are definitely some bad ice cream flavors. I am not a fan of pistachio. Blech.
Oh man, I love pistachio.
Nope. Oh, that's Rutherford says, I found it terrible. It's called Blue Moon. Apparently, it's a terrible ice cream flavor. Now I got to go look this up.
Blue Moon ice cream? Oh, yeah. We were talking about beer ice cream, right?
No. There's a difference between beer ice cream and Blue Moon ice cream.
All I know is that Blue Moon is a beer.
Yes. Blue Moon is
it's okay. I'm sure you're referring to something that's not beer.
Oh no. Why?
Oh no, what is it?
It is an ice cream that has some distinct berry and vanilla flavor notes, but they're also flavored with castoreum.
Oh, yeah, no. So, there's a distillery in Tamworth, New Hampshire.
Without that.
Yeah. So they have a whiskey called what do they call Oda Musk that is made with castoreum. Pretty good whiskey. I don't know. I think it tastes pretty good.
Oh well, no accounting for taste. No,
you have to get over it. Like you have to get over what you're drinking, right? Like, but
yeah.
I said something
totally.
like, what is it like? Eating fish eyes or whatever, which is something that's a lot more accepted in a lot of other countries, but around here, a lot of people I know would be like, that's disgusting. But apparently, it's delicious. You just have to get over what you're doing.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you do have to. Well, so right, there are people that eat fish eyes and eat this stuff, and to them, there's nothing wrong with it. Like this is just normal.
Well, exactly.
It's like growing up, we used to eat rotten fish. We would take fish, clean them up and whatnot. You pack them in salt, you wrap them in banana leaves, and you bury them out back for a week. Pull it out, flash freeze it, and then cook it. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Stinks to high heaven. Like it'll smoke out an entire house. Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
But good stuff.
Sure.
You know, it's like
I'd potentially give it a try.
you know, you gotta give everything
like-
at least a try one time.
Yeah. Jackfruit's something I really want to try sometime. That's one thing. What's the one
Jackfruit?
that smells really bad? Durian.
Durian
wanna try.
fruit.
Both of them.
Jackfruit.
Like, I haven't
Jackfruit's
tried
not.
either.
Jackfruit's kind of bland. It doesn't really have much of a taste. It's not bad.
Oh, okay.
There's no real smell or anything.
Durian.
It sounds fancy, but no. Durian is the one that you have to work your way around of. Stroman.
I heard it tastes pretty good. It just smells really, really bad.
Yeah, don't. No, I think I'll pass on
No?
that.
Okay, heard.
No,
Yeah, I don't know.
Dote's offering up Stroman. That's the canned rotten fish.
Oh, yep. All right, Dope. Nope. We're gonna get fresh fish.
We'll do the freshest of fish, right? Okay. So, last couple of items. We are coming down into the wire here. This has been a lovely 3 hours, and it always passes before you're ready for it. Like everybody's like, "Oh, wait, it's been 3 hours already! Holy cow!"
I was gonna say it seems like a lot faster than I thought it was.
it slips by before you know it. So you have two last things that you have to do. Number one, you have a final bit of hang on, we got just in. And Steamy, I'm ignoring your stupid question, but you already knew that anyways. Follow up on Kvass. As Steamy says, it's basically beer for kids, but Kvass is a fermented cereal-based low alcoholic beverage of cloudy appearance and a sweet sour taste, and originates from northeastern Europe. Main ingredients are rye bread or rye flour and rye malt, as well as water and yeast.
Huh. I'd definitely give that a try. That sounds pretty good. Or interesting, at least. I like sour flavored things. I don't know. So
I don't mind sour. I like sweet and sours. That doesn't faze me any.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, try it at least. I'll have to look it up.
You better inform these bolts of your results. They want to know what you think of it if you find out about it. Okay, so
I'll have to, and I need to post pictures about me with a cowboy hat with an English Mastiff on my lap.
That's right. Yeah. You gotta you owe giant dog pictures.
Giant dog pic.
There's only one real answer. We'll see about that. So last couple of businesses then. Number one is you need to figure out where you want to send this collection of fantastic people who have learned all about you this evening to. As is traditional, we always raid somewhere that you select.
Oh, man.
Okay, so that's one to think about. The other one is your final question of the evening is if you were talking to an earlier version of yourself getting started, or talking to somebody else who's looking to get started, either one, however you want to phrase that in your head so that the next piece makes easier sense to talk about. What is the single piece of advice that you think would have been like super useful to have known that you could share with the next person coming along?
I stood up for this because I kind of had no idea where this was going. Right? All right. Younger me or anybody looking to get started. And this doesn't even have to particularly pertain to like mixology bartending. I think it's with a lot of things with life, honestly.
Well, so no, this would be getting started with like streaming or online content creating or this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Trying to get started.
Absolutely. Yep. Especially that, right? You're gonna mess up. I don't know. Are you PG-13 or you are?
You're fine. Yeah, we're adults around here.
You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna fuck up. And it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be all of those things, right? But don't be afraid to fuck up, because there's no losing. There's only winning and learning in any given situation. and a lot of it is learning. No matter what, you're gonna at least learn something, either about yourself, about streaming, about your audience, and about how to approach it. The greatest thing you can do is just go out there and keep doing it. Because the more you do it, the better you're gonna get every time. And that's almost no matter what you're doing. That's the biggest thing I would give to just about anybody as far as anything they're doing.
There you go.
And then you were saying something about. Let's see.
Yeah, you have to find somebody to go raid.
Oh, Salty's live. Let's go raid into Salty.
You want to go raid into Salty? All right.
I just popped on the Twitch on my phone.
Then we will send this collection of fantastic people over to Salty. I won't have to explain anything to Salty. Salty will know exactly what's going on. So we'll just. Well, Tropical Raven, this has been an absolute thrill. I have learned an awful lot about drinks, about video games, about you. And I am certain all of our fantastic viewers and the viewers that are coming to come along behind us are going to learn all about. Any final words, thoughts, phrasings, anything else that you would like to say before we wrap things up here?
Just the whole like self-promotion part. I mean, you said you have a lot of my socials and the links. Yeah, just the Tropical Raven on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. If you guys want to
not just Tropical Raven, the Tropical Raven.
The Tropical Raven. Yeah, people get confused with it. If you guys want to learn anything more or interact with me a little bit more, that's where you find me. And I thank everybody who came and everybody who asked questions. I really appreciate Nori giving me the time to come out here. It was a fantastic time and went a lot faster than I thought it would.
It always does. Everybody complains like it's always done before you know. I'm like, yeah, but we've been at it for 3 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, and you know, this has been an absolute pleasure. Absolutely.
This has been fun. Yeah, I like it.
There you go. All right, I am going to deafen. You're welcome to hang up and drop out of the call if you need to, or whatever you need to do. While I go and
so I can raid in with you guys.
There you go. I am going to go and get everything wrapped on up, and we'll send this raid on out. Tropical Raven, it has been an absolute blast. If you need anything, we're always here. Drop on by. For all of you fantastic people, we've never seen Nori's face. No, not yet. Not yet. So let's do this real quick before I let you get off from this. Tropical Raven, because this is another thing that we have been doing. So up in the top there, for all of our chatters, there's a little heart that just showed up. If it is not lit up, you are doing things wrong. We have spent 3 hours with the absolute fantastic Tropical Raven, and you should be like smashing that button. You should be following. You should be like all over the socials and keeping track of this rising absolute superstar. You don't want to miss out on any of it. I promise you, it's going to be a good time.
We're along for the ride.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You gotta be kidding me. I'm like, why is this not? You know, I hate when things like update. Like everything updates and then stuff doesn't want to work right after it's done the update.
Mm-hmm. Never.
You're like, what is going on? Like that has been story of the night.
Story of the night. That's it.
Well, I'm like, I went to go hit my little, I've got a Stream Deck sort of thing. And it was like, yeah. I'm like, it's not loaded. Why isn't it loaded? Where is it at? It's not even connecting. What is going on here? Why is not it? Oh, right. We had an update. There we go. All right. I'm deafening. Thank you, my friend. We will catch up with you.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Thank you very much for having me and have a good night.
You too. All right. There's the end screen. You guys have been fantastic. You guys have been amazing. We have had an absolute action-packed blast of a night sitting around hanging and chatting with the Tropical Raven. Next up, we are going to go say hi to Miss Snalty Snacks, as was selected by our guest star for the evening. If you don't know who that is, well, stick around. You're going to find out next week. Next week on Talk Tuesday, you think we're done just yet? Absolutely not. Next week on Talk Tuesday, who do we have? TJC the Man. And next week's going to be a very special, unique Talk Tuesday, because next week's Talk Tuesday will be done on Wednesday as we sit down and we have a chat with TJC the Man. So the first time only, we will be doing Talk Tuesday on a Wednesday. It's going to be interesting. But come by, check out, come meet with TJC the Man. It's going to be fun. You don't want to miss out on it. And for all those, as we... Chin Waggle Wednesday. Hey, you know, that's a good name for that. We'll call that Chin Waggle Wednesday for next week instead of Talk Tuesday. I like that one. In the meantime, we are going to go send a raid out to the Salty Snacks. You guys have been amazing. You guys have been fantastic. And we have learned an awful lot about the Tropical Raven. And you guys have been along for that ride from the very start. So there we go.
It's been a good decade.
That's where we're going.
Yeah. I think there's something that we need to discuss.
They want a divorce.
Are you pregnant? No.
Big shout and thank you to Zen, Serb, and Red Fox for the subs, Zen for the cheers, and Swifty for the lovely raid. You guys have all been fantastic and amazing. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys again on the next Talk Tuesday. Don't forget, Friday we will be back here doing some more chaos on our normal Friday night stream stuff. Hopefully we will be returning to Elden Ring, but we'll see. It does look like the Seamless Co-op mod has been updated and fixed, so we'll see about that. In the meantime, there are the raid messages. The first one's for all you lovely subscribers. The second one's for all you lovely followers. Whichever one you can use, grab it, copy it. Get ready to spam it as we go say hi to the Salty Snacks and tell them all about Talk Tuesday and the Tropical Raven. And until next time, continue to be the fantastic, fabulous, and amazing people that I already know you are. Fabulous and amazing people that I already know you are. Until next time, there's an echo. Bye for now.